Chapter 491. Techniques can actually be used like this? How was that great being so smart? Just the raindrop picture alone was able to come up with so many techniques. Luo Feng placed the first volume of Time-Space Scribbles aside and picked up the second volume. Flipping open the thick metal book, Luo Feng hungrily began to read. The second volume of Time-Space Scribbles corresponded to the second picture of the 9-universe primal chaos tablet, the drizzle picture. In terms of profoundness, it was obviously hundreds to thousands of times more profound than the first volume. Because Luo Feng only had a superficial understanding of the second picture, reading page after page of the book, he only felt that it was incomparably profound. These techniques were all created based on the drizzle picture. Some contained a little of the drizzle picture, some contained a portion of its profoundness, some were the entirety of the drizzle picture. It's actually like this. So it's like this. Luo Feng flipped through the second volume, completely immersed in it. The first volume had 3,219 techniques. Luo Feng only spent 3 days to learn them all. However, the second volume had 2,102 techniques, of which there were 2,083 he couldn't understand at all. He felt like he was in the clouds. The other 19 techniques, with Luo Feng's ability, he could still barely study them, and as he studied and compared them with the drizzle picture of the 9-universe primal chaos tablet in his mind, he gained something. Many factories could dismantle machines, and according to the various parts of the machine, they could then reverse engineer the manufacturing process. One theory. Why were techniques so precious? It was because a technique would become more and more profound, pointing towards the depths of the origin laws. Studying techniques actually helped one to comprehend the origin laws. This was why in the universe, many people fought to get their hands on these precious techniques. After all, to truly view the primal chaos tablet was a privilege that only the rarest of humanity had. Normal warriors couldn't even see the 52 primal chaos tablets. Luo Feng took a deep breath and put down the thick book in his hand. Good book. It really is a good book. Luo Feng looked at the cover of the book. On the cover were the words Time-Space Scribbles. It made one feel the evolution of the universe in space. If only the price was a little cheaper, that would be even better. The next time I want to buy the third volume, I'll need 100,000 points. Where will I find that many points? Points were too hard to get. Babada, how long have I been reading? Luo Feng carefully placed the book into the bookshelf behind him, simultaneously asking. The first book, you read it for 3 days, and the second book, you read it for 29 days. The little devil on his shoulder said. 29 days? Luo Feng nodded, after which he shook his head and laughed. I learned all 3,219 techniques in 3 days, however studying 19 techniques took me 29 days, and I haven't even understood all of them. How is the effect? Babada asked. The effects are alright. Luo Feng smiled. I've comprehended the 10th and 11th wonders. Damn. Babada's eyes almost popped out. Luo Feng, you're too shameless. You call this okay? The raindrop pattern contained 9 basic mysteries. The drizzle painting contained 27 more profound mysteries. The rainstorm diagram contained the last 72 most profound mysteries. There were a total of 108 mysteries. They were the most fundamental 108 units of the universe's space origin laws. This can be considered a good preparation. Luo Feng said, when I was in Primal Chaos City, many of my comprehensions were fragmented. I had some comprehension but didn't fully comprehend it. And now that I've studied so many techniques, it's given me a lot of inspiration. Many of the things I almost comprehended in the past, comparing them with each other, I've consecutively comprehended 2 wonders. Floating Blood's 108 blade forms, I've learned 11 of them, of course. The accumulation from before, through the Time-Space Scribbles, has given me a huge gain. However, in the future, there won't be such a good thing anymore. The first time he read the Time-Space Scribbles, he had the most inspiration. In the future, there wouldn't be such a thing anymore. Unless he went to study the Primal Chaos tablet again. However, the tablet was in Primal Chaos City, and the chance to study it was very precious. Luo Feng suddenly stared, fiercely standing up and shouting, "I've been studying the time-space scribbles for the past 32 days, doesn't that mean I haven't attended any classes these 32 days? I didn't even attend the public classes I like." There were many classes in the absolute beginning region, however it was all voluntary. Normally, those that explained space and techniques, Luo Feng didn't even bother with them. Those undying teachers really couldn't compare to his own teacher. However, those that explained the gold origin laws, those that explained space and gold fusion, were the two classes that Luo Feng valued the most. As his teacher Tru Yen specialized in space, even though he had some comprehension of the gold origin laws, he couldn't compare to those undyings that studied the gold origin laws. What's the use of regretting? The little fiend chuckled. Let me remind you, there's a public lecture on the fusion of your favorite origin laws of space and metal tonight. I'll go tonight. Luo Feng nodded, however I'll go test it out first, to see how much my strength has improved. Luo Feng leapt out from the balcony of his study, leaving behind a series of images in mid-air, arriving at the entrance of his training grounds. Within the training grounds, the ground was bright and reflective. Simulate Serpent City. Luo Feng ordered, with Babata's help, the training grounds swiftly transformed into a part of a huge city. There was no one in the city. On the balcony of a 9-story tall normal skyscraper, Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back and roared, "Rise!" Suddenly, a great number of golden swords shot out from the dark golden staff behind him. There were a total of 1,600 golden swords. These 1,600 golden swords rapidly flew together like dancing fairies. In the air, they rapidly extended out golden threads that contained the mysteries of the laws. In the blink of an eye, they had formed a golden pillar. The totem pillar. Go! Luo Feng pointed at a distant bank skyscraper. Rumble, the totem pillar rumbled, space trembled, the totem pillar seemed to teleport, suddenly traversing a few km, immediately smashing into the bank skyscraper. The entire skyscraper trembled and immediately turned to dust. Simultaneously, the entire ground beneath the skyscraper trembled, spreading in all directions. The ground was like waves in the ocean. After which, everything within a few km radius turned to dust. My strength control isn't precise enough. Luo Feng stood in mid-air, letting the building below him turn to dust, frowning. I wanted to compress the attack into a straight line, but it still spread along the ground. However, according to the 3,000-plus techniques in the time-space scribbles, with some modifications, combined with the 10th and 11th wonders I just comprehended, the totem pillar's power is obviously much stronger. Luo Feng pointed into the distance. Go! Rumble! 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 The totem pillar was like a god's punishment, whether it smashed here or there. The moment it was smashed, the surrounding few km would immediately turn to dust. Lifting something heavy as though it's light, there's a feeling of lifting something heavy as though it's light. Luo Feng was even more satisfied. Reading the time-space scribbles had indeed helped him greatly, since his Nanshin armament's 4th level was already so strong. Then what about the 5th? I'll give it a try. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. First the totem pillar immediately dispersed, and became countless golden lights that flew back into the dark golden long rod on his back. Rise! Luo Feng roared, his eyes concentrating. Suddenly, a myriad of golden lights shot out from the dark golden long rod behind him in all directions. In an instant, it was as if the sun was shooting out rays of light. Countless golden lights instantly converged in the process of flying, directly turning into 36 golden swords that were more than a foot long. What he needed to do next was to gather these 36 blades into one dark golden long blade. Nanshin armament 5th level, every blade was made up of 81 little golden blades, 36 blades meant a total of 2,916 little golden blades. Luo Feng took a deep breath. Looking at the floating 36 blades, he roared, "Gather!" Immediately the 36 golden blades closed. Every blade followed the complicated golden engravings and shot out tens of thousands of golden threads. Every thread represented Luo Feng's comprehension of the space and gold origin laws. Simultaneously controlling it, it made Luo Feng's consciousness almost like an AI controlling and calculating. Success, success, gather them together. Luo Feng's forehead beaded with sweat. The dense golden threads intertwined with each other, completely integrating the 36 golden swords into the shape of a dark golden longsword that was more than 3 meters long. However, there were still a few areas on the body of this dark golden longsword that were still shaking and twisting. The golden threads were floating, unable to completely integrate. Gather them together. Luo Feng's face was flushed red. His consciousness and spirit energy struggled to control them, however the repulsive forces were extremely strong. Pung! The entire dark golden long blade shook fiercely, however it still crumbled. Who? Luo Feng sighed, shaking his head. Immediately the crumbling 2,916 little golden blades became a dense golden light and flew back into the dark golden long rod on his back. If my spirit energy was at the domain lord level, I could rely on the strength of my spirit energy to forcefully gather them together. Luo Feng thought, if my comprehension of the gold origin laws was deeper, I would be able to gather them together successfully. At the last moment, he wanted to control the golden threads to merge perfectly, however there were still a few areas where he couldn't. That was because his comprehension wasn't high enough. The Nanshin armament was a spirit weapon created from the fusion of space and gold, the two great origin laws. It was known as one of the 9 godly weapons, because gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, light and thunder, these 8 origin laws were far easier to comprehend. They were far easier than space and time. Hence, during the formation of the Nanshin armament, it placed more emphasis on the gold origin laws. The requirement for the space origin laws was comparatively lower. My space origin law comprehension is enough to unleash the 5th level. However, the gold origin law comprehension isn't enough. Luo Feng smiled helplessly. Luo Feng's comprehension speed wasn't slow at all. The space had the 9 universe primal chaos tablet, floating blood, the spacetime scribbles, and true Yan's guidance. Coupled with the space's beloved child, the Masha race's clone, his improvement speed was not much different from the origin of metal. However, logically speaking, the speed at which one comprehended the origin of metal should be far faster than the speed at which one comprehended the space. I don't have a teacher that specifically teaches me the gold origin laws. Luo Feng thought. Also, I haven't studied the gold origin laws either. From the looks of it, it's time for the golden horned beast to study a gold origin law technique. That way, it'll be able to raise my improvement speed in the gold origin laws. Inherited memories, techniques as vast as the ocean. This golden horned beast of mine, which one should I choose? P.S. I've reached the 1st chapter. Today's target was the 4th chapter. To make up for yesterday's tomato being weak. Chapter 492. There were many battle techniques in the golden horned beast's inherited memories. When Luo Feng and Babata were researching which one was more suitable, after researching for a while, the night class was about to begin. Absolute beginning Villa 1136. A silhouette rushed into the sky. This public class talks about the fusion of gold and space. I can't miss it. Luo Feng swiftly left the villa and headed towards the distant huge art piece skyscraper. At this time, silhouettes from the absolute beginning region would occasionally fly towards this skyscraper, entering it one by one. The entire skyscraper occupied an area of 100 kilometers. On Earth, it was an unbelievable building. Lecture Building Number 2 was 80 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide. At the back of classroom 2, there were 1,000 seats. The rest of the spacious space was the undying teacher's territory. Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and waved to a skinny youth dressed in scale armor. This skinny youth was bald, his skin was bronze, his entire being had a savage aura. This was one of Luo Feng's few friends in the absolute beginning region. After which, Luo Feng sat beside this skinny youth. "I haven't seen you for a month," Iku said with a smile. "You usually attend the public lectures on the origin of metal and the fusion of space and metal. This month, there have been close to 10 lectures, and I haven't seen you at all. I sent you a call request, but you actually blocked it?" "I'm researching a technique. I got engrossed in it and forgot to attend." Luo Feng smiled. Iku, Domain Lord level warrior, absolute beginning member. This was because he had to attend every public class on the combination of the origin of metal, metal space, and metal origin. After a few meetings, Luo Feng and Iku had become friends. "Engrossed in it?" Iku blinked. "I reckon you've gained quite a bit." Luo Feng nodded. "Congratulations, haha." Iku laughed loudly, following which he lowered his voice. "However, brother, I reckon I've gained quite a bit too." Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. "You know, I'm currently in control of a large area. I'll occasionally meet with opportunities." Iku's eyes were filled with anticipation. "I hope I can succeed this time. The moment I do, you're feeling good, you're still in control outside. We're still training within." Luo Feng shook his head. The Virtual Universe Company, regarding the nurturing of the core members, there were many levels. The top 1,000 of the Genius Battle would be directly sent to Primal Chaos City to train for 30 years. The Universe-level core members were all in the Virtual Universe Company's Core 4 secret regions to train, peacefully listening to the Undying's lectures, training and accepting missions. Domain Lord-level core members would lead their guards and head to a universe country to take control of a region. According to Luo Feng's words, that would be becoming a governor, truly beginning to interact with the universe's matters. It would be considered leaving the Virtual Universe Company's wings. Everything would require one's own hard work. Sector Lord-level core members were even more dangerous. They had to go out into the universe to explore the incomparably terrifying alien battlefields that were known as the meat grinder of the various races, or the extremely dangerous universe secret realms. Cherish this opportunity. Iku exclaimed, "Luo Feng, you're still at the universe level. You can still peacefully train under the protection of the Virtual Universe Company, accepting missions. Everything is within your control. Once you reach the Domain Lord level, you'll be sent out to various universe countries, controlling a large area of power and training. That's when you'll be in danger. Especially at the Sector Lord level, you won't even be allowed to bring your guards. You'll immediately begin life and death training." Luo Feng nodded. Universe levels were like children, they needed to be taught well. Domain lords were like youths, roaming outside. Sector lords were like adults, starting to experience life and death situations. If they succeeded, they would become undying in one step. It was a pity the chances of success were very, very low. Within Classroom 2, the absolute beginning members were increasing. There were already over 100 of them. While Luo Feng and Iku were talking, a short, muscular man with a golden beard walked over with a smile on his face. Iku, the person beside you must be Luo Feng." "Zajiwu?" Iku glanced at him. The short-built man smiled at Luo Feng. "How do you do? I'm Zajiwu, similar to Iku, a domain lord. I've heard of you before. I've wanted to meet you a few times before, however I never had the chance." "How do you do?" Luo Feng smiled and greeted. "Luo Feng, this punk Zajiwu is a little crafty, however he's not bad. We've known each other for over 1,000 years." Iku introduced Luo Feng. Zajiwu rubbed his golden beard, sitting beside and saying softly, "I heard that the first time you went to Primal Chaos City, you passed 5 levels of the Heavenly Bridge in 30 years. Right?" Luo Feng nodded. Powerful, respect. Zha Ji Wu nodded. Zha Ji Wu, speak quickly. Iku frowned. Zha Ji Wu lowered his voice. Luo Feng, I want to discuss something with you. Luo Feng frowned. I want to exchange for some items in our virtual universe company treasure trove, however, I don't have enough points. Zha Ji Wu shook his head. I hope, Luo Feng, you can help me exchange. And when that time comes, I'll use money to buy from you. No matter how many points you spend, I'm willing to give you money at the ratio of 1 mixed element to 5 points. If you spend 1,000 points, I'll give you 200 mixed element. Zha Ji Wu said, you should know this ratio is not bad. Luo Feng was shocked. If he spent 5 points, the other party would give him 1 mixed element? This price was not bad. According to the prices of many items in the treasure trove, Luo Feng calculated that 7 or 8 points was equivalent to 1 mixed element. Go go go. Iku pushed Zha Ji Wu. Quickly go, you bastard, you actually scammed my friend. It's not considered scamming. He passed 5 levels consecutively. The 10 times reward is 31,000 points. He doesn't even need that much right now. My price is too high. Zha Ji Wu said. Iku frowned. Alright, you think I don't know what you're planning, I won't stop you, I'll tell Luo Feng the details. Luo Feng agrees, you guys can trade, I won't care. What's going on? Luo Feng was curious. Even though Zha Ji Wu wasn't happy, he was still straightforward. Luo Feng, Iku said softly, right now when you exchange for items, you've discovered 1 mixed element is equivalent to 7 or 8 points, right? Luo Feng nodded. However, I have to tell you, to exchange for treasures in the treasure trove, you can only rely on points. Undying and below core members, you can only rely on the Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean, Undying Altar and other missions to get points. Points are very, very precious and rare. Iku emphasized, of course you think, as long as you have money, you can buy treasures in the outside world, right? Luo Feng couldn't help but nod. Right. With enough money, one could buy treasures in auctions, etc. You're wrong. Iku shook his head. Auctions are split into beginner, middle and high level. The universe country auctions are all beginner level. The lowest requirement is a 3-star client. And the high-level auctions, the lowest requirement is a 5-star client. Just the preparation alone takes many years, hence waiting for the next high-level auction will take a very long time. And within the auction, they might not have the items you want. The treasure trove is different. There's everything within, there's nothing too strange. Some of the restricted level items are rarely seen even in the high-level auctions, because the 5 great powers don't want to let these incomparably precious items leak out. Iku said, many of the restricted level items, however, are within the treasure trove. The later it gets, the more obvious the importance of the treasure trove becomes. However, to exchange for items within the treasure trove, one has to rely on points. Iku exclaimed, and the points are very hard to accumulate. Those under Undying are prohibited from using money to exchange for points. And after becoming Undying, only then can one use money to exchange for points. The Virtual Universe Company's rule for the Undyings is 1 mixed element for 1 point. Luo Feng was shocked. I've said what I need to say, you decide for yourself. Iku said. Iku is right. Beside, the short golden-bearded man nodded. Some incomparably precious items, the outside world can't even buy them. Hence the points are very precious. However, Luo Feng, you're only at universe level now. The items you want to buy can be bought outside. There's no need to waste your points. If you help me buy them, I'll give you money. 5 points for 1 mixed element, it's very worth it. Luo Feng laughed. Iku watched as Zha Ji Wu left dejectedly. He couldn't help but laugh. Luo Feng, I was really worried you'd agree to him. I never intended to agree from the start. Luo Feng laughed. What a joke. To buy the 3rd volume of Time-Space Scribbles, one would need to spend 100,000 points. He was still worrying about how to get points. How could he use them to buy items for others? That's right, you're considered powerful. You've just passed 5 levels in Primal Chaos City. You have to know that the 10 times reward is only available at the start. Iku shook his head. You've acquired 31,000 points, and the 10,000 points at the start. It seems like the points are easy to get, however you can try again later. Luo Feng listened carefully. Iku was after all a domain lord. He had more experience than him. I have a support metal life form Kao. Iku shook his head. This metal life form can form armor, weapons, even ships. It's a very good helper. However, for me to nurture Kao, evolving it to domain lord level is very easy. However, to evolve it to sector lord level, the various materials required require a total of 86,000 points. I'm still having a headache over this. And after reaching sector lord level, the resources required for Kao will be even more shocking. As for Kao becoming an undying, I don't even dare to think about it now. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Iku had the support metallic life form, and he himself had the support plant life form Cloud Contact Vine. Right now, the Cloud Contact Vine had evolved to Domain Lord level 2. Back then, to go from Universe level 9 to Domain Lord level, he had spent a life fruit. Babata, for the Cloud Contact Vine to break through and evolve to Sector Lord level, how many points does it take? What about breaking through to Undying? Luo Feng asked. According to Master's process of nurturing the Cloud Contact Vine back then, from Domain Lord level 9 to Sector Lord level, it requires many treasures to allow it to break through to Sector Lord level. It requires about 120,000 points. As for breaking through from Sector Lord level 9 to Undying, this is the hardest. For a human to break through to Undying is already unbelievable. To help the Cloud Contact Vine, according to Master's efforts back then, it requires 2 million mixed elements, along with some luck. After all, to break through the shackles of life and become an Undying, no one dares say they have a 100% guarantee. Chapter 493. 2 million mixed elements and luck? Luo Feng's heart was in turmoil. 2 million mixed elements, how terrifying was that? The entire Black Dragon Mountain star field's worth was only 300,000 to 1 million mixed elements. Back then, your teacher had to burn his boats and go bankrupt in order to succeed. The Cloud Contact Vine has reached Undying. It's extremely powerful, much stronger than normal human Undyings. With it, your teacher was like a tiger with wings. Even if others were stronger than your teacher, it would still be very hard to kill him. Babata said. Very hard to kill? But he was still killed in the end, Luo Feng thought. Points. Luo Feng was anxious within. Accumulating quantity was very easy. However, breaking through the bottleneck was very hard. Nurturing the Sector Lord Cloud Contact Vine. The price made Luo Feng's heart ache, about 120,000 points. Buying the time-space scribbles requires points, nurturing the Cloud Contact Vine requires points, repairing the UNMO planet ship requires points, and they are all huge amounts. Luo Feng thought, luckily, I don't have much pressure right now. Right now, Luo Feng barely had enough points. The prerequisite was that he didn't need to nurture the Cloud Contact Vine or repair the UNMO planet ship. Teacher! Within the second hall, over 100 absolute beginning members bowed respectfully. A close to 30 tall demon god like Undying, whose entire body seemed to be made of metal with 3 horns on his head, walked into the second hall, his voice rumbling, gold, extreme yang, indestructible, unstoppable. Space encompasses all matter and energy. When time stops, everything within the universe space. Silence. This great Undying definitely didn't allow anyone to speak while he was teaching, and he would always start his class with his signature words. Gold, extreme yang, everything within the universe space. This was a violent and barbaric being, but many of the core members liked to listen to his classes. This undying, as he spoke, his hands waved and many law engravings appeared in mid-air. It's like this. Luo Feng listened carefully, occasionally realizing, occasionally nodding and occasionally frowning. After a while, the class ended. Luo Feng turned his head and was slightly shocked, because Yi Ku, who was beside him, had disappeared. Normally, even if he leaves the virtual universe network, he should at least inform me. Luo Feng was curious, did he leave midway? Luo Feng immediately sent a call request to Yi Ku, however. Blocked the call. Luo Feng smiled. Seems like something important has happened. It was very common to block calls. Normally, for enlightenment, training, adventures, as long as it was important and couldn't be distracted, they would choose to block the virtual universe network. Of course, there was another possibility, which was death. Once he died, the auxiliary AI and optical computer would not be able to access the internet. Naturally, he would not be able to receive any calls. After listening to the lesson, Luo Feng wasn't in a rush to choose a battle technique for the golden horned beast body. Instead, he decided to try the undying altar and fantasy ocean. Points. I need hundreds of thousands of points now, and I'll need even more in the future. Luo Feng was anxious. How do I get points? Just challenging the sky-crossing bridge won't be enough. Hearing Yi Ku and Zha Jiwu, the two Domain Lord core members, Luo Feng could deduce that the further in one went, the more valuable the points would be. The Undyings would all use money to exchange for points, because the virtual universe company's treasure trove only allowed points to be exchanged for items. Let's go to the Immortal Altar and the Sea of Illusions first. Core members could easily enter the Heavenly Bridge, the Immortal Altar, and the Sea of Illusions. Undying Altar. A huge black mountain range with no end in sight. There were many peaks, and every peak had a golden altar. With a glance over the tens of thousands of peaks, there were tens of thousands of golden altars. Shwa. A black-haired youth appeared at the bottom of one of the golden altars. The moment Luo Feng appeared in the space of the undying altar, he felt uncomfortable. I can't feel the universe energy ripples, nor can I feel any energy from the outside world. The genetic energy within my body is gone, and my spirit energy is extremely weak. I can barely maintain a thread of consciousness. It was very strange, very uncomfortable. Losing his genetic energy, spirit energy, and low ripples, all his energy was gone. The only thing he could use was his physical strength. A place to test pure strength. Undying Altar. Luo Feng looked up. There were a total of 99 levels here. The highest platform represented level 100. Only when one's physical strength reaches 100 units can it represent perfect control of one's body. Stepping on the stairs, he swiftly reached the altar. On the altar of the Immortal Altar, there was a human-shaped target. Next to the target was a screen. There were words on the screen, which were translated into Chinese. Please use your fists, elbows, head, knees, and feet to hit the target within 1 second. Your strength will be calculated according to the lowest damage of these 5 attacks. 5 attacks? Luo Feng was stunned. He originally thought that it would be like Earth, where 1 punch would do. He didn't expect that there would be a time limit of 1 second, simultaneously unleashing 5 attacks, and using fist, elbow, etc., all 5 body parts. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng slightly warmed up his body. Pop. The sound of bones colliding. Rumble. Legs slashed through the air. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, immediately attacking the human-shaped target before him. In an instant, Luo Feng's entire body became like a bow. His right fist was like an arrow leaving the bow, fiercely smashing into the target's head. 1 attack. After that, he turned around and gathered all his strength into a single kick. Then, he ferociously kicked the chest of the humanoid target, causing it to cave in slightly. 2 attacks. The moment he landed, he fiercely rushed forward, his knee fiercely striking the target's abdomen with all his strength, unleashing all his strength, 3 attacks, after which, he bent his body, almost like a huge bow, fiercely bouncing back, his forehead fiercely smashing into the target's chest. 4 attacks, after which, he jumped up, his right elbow bent, his entire body's muscles were like engines, bursting forth with all his strength and transmitting it to his right arm. Following which, he viciously struck with his elbow. 5 attacks were completed. Luo Feng looked at the screen beside. On it appeared the numbers, 31 units, 28 units, 36 units, 29 units, 35 units, score 28 units, obtained 0 points. My strength is 28 times. Luo Feng shook his head. Back on Earth, the highest level of the 9-stage Thunderblade was 7 times. Of course, now that Luo Feng's level was completely different, he could casually create up to 1,000 techniques better than the 9-stage Thunderblade. Just like the creator of the 9-universe tablet, the time-space scribbles, he could casually create his own technique. Within 1 second, continuously attack all 5 parts of the body, using the lowest attack strength. The requirements sure are harsh. Luo Feng tried it once and understood why it was so. In a short period of time, every part of the body can reach 100 units of attack. Only then can it mean that I have perfect control over my body. Again. After 5 consecutive collisions, another 5 results appeared: 35 units, 30 units, 36 units, 29 units, 35 units, obtained 29 units, obtained 0 points. Again. Obtained 28 units. Again. Obtained 30 units. Over and over, after a few hundred attempts, Luo Feng's best result was 32 units. His worst was only 26 units, all of them obtained 0 points. The Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean, Undying Altar, all of these could give point. However, the rules were different. The 9-universe Heavenly Bridge had a total of 27 levels. The first gave 100 points, the second gave 200 points, the third gave 400 points, and so on. Each level gave twice the points of the previous one. There were many islands in the Sea of Illusion. From the outermost islands, one would constantly fly into the depths of the Sea of Illusion. The deeper one went into the Sea of Illusion, the more terrifying the pressure of the so-called illusory willpower would be. The rules of the Sea of Illusion were somewhat similar to the rules of the Heavenly Bridge. From the outer to the inner, there were a total of 21 islands. The first gave 100 points, the second gave 200 points, the third gave 400 points, and so on. The deepest island of Fantasy Ocean was the 21st island. Fantasy Ocean, Heavenly Bridge, Undyings and even knights would attempt them, hence the points were high. However, the Undying Altar was different. Perfect control over one's entire body was one of the prerequisites to becoming Undyings. Hence, the Undying Altar had the lowest points of the 3. Using 50 units gave 1,000 points. Using 60 units gave 2,000 points. Using 70 units gave 4,000 points. Using 80 units gave 8,000 points. Using 90 units gave 16,000 points. Using 100 units gave 50,000 points. Anything below 50 units gave 0 points. My strength is that bad? In that huge black mountain range, within one of the tens of thousands of golden altars, Luo Feng had trained over and over again, trying over tens of thousands of times. After an entire day, his best result was only 34 units. He couldn't blame anyone. Firstly, Luo Feng was a spirit reader. He didn't seriously train his strength. Even though the Masha clansmen fought in close combat, it was an energy life form. It didn't rely on its muscles and bones to exert strength, hence there was no such thing as strength, hence it couldn't train its strength. As for the golden horned beast, it was a flesh and blood life form. It did indeed have the strength to exert strength. However, the golden horned beast had been studying absolute space and deities of the world for so many years. The rest of its time was spent comprehending the gold origin laws. As for the battle techniques, it had never trained before. However, its body structure was naturally good at exerting strength. Even if it didn't study it, it could still reach about 60 or 70 units. And the human body exerting strength was much harder. For Luo Feng to reach 34 units, it was thanks to his strong consciousness and comprehension of the laws. That's too embarrassing, I actually got 0 points. Luo Feng couldn't help but think, when I get back, I'll find a battle technique for the golden horned beast, one that focuses on exerting strength. Exerting strength is one of the barriers to becoming undying. I can't be careless. The undying altar doesn't give me much points. I'll go try Fantasy Ocean. My consciousness and willpower are what I'm most confident in. Fantasy Ocean, I have to go deeper and get more points. Luo Feng immediately prepared to head to Fantasy Ocean. Suddenly, mail? Luo Feng pointed in mid-air and a screen appeared. On it was a mail. It's from the Virtual Universe Company? Luo Feng opened the mail and read it, however his face immediately went pale. Impossible, impossible. Luo Feng couldn't help but shake his head. The 3rd chapter is here. Tomato is writing the 4th chapter. Please support me with your monthly votes. Let Tomato have the motivation to catch up. The difference in votes is huge. I need your support. Chapter 494. How is this possible? How is that possible? Luo Feng looked at the contents of the mail and shook his head. Brother Iku is dead? This was a mail that was sent to all the core members of the Absolute Beginning region. There were originally very few members in the Absolute Beginning region, only 1,100 in total, and they were all considered the absolute geniuses of their respective universe countries. The entire Absolute Beginning region absorbed less than 20 people every 10,000 years, so every single genius was very precious. Every time one of them died, the entire Absolute Beginning region would be notified as a reminder. Iku. Luo Feng's body trembled, and there was a hint of shock in his eyes. That was right. Yesterday, during the public lecture, without him noticing, Iku's consciousness had already left the Virtual Universe network. His calls didn't go through either. At that time, he had thought that it was some sort of epiphany or treasure hunt. Now it seemed that Iku had probably met with misfortune at that time. This Big Brother Iku is from the Virtual Universe Company. He's someone who holds a huge amount of power. How did he die just like that? Even if he leaves the protection of the company and encounters many things, he is after all a core member of the Virtual Universe Company. He was killed just like that? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. Many scenes appeared in his mind. You again? I've seen you in the previous 2 lectures. What a coincidence. A burly young man in a scaled armor walked over and shouted with a smile. What a coincidence. Luo Feng smiled. My name is Luo Feng. I'm Iku. Let me tell you, when the Virtual Universe Company's Domain Lord core members are sent out, they will be sent to their own universe countries. This time, when I return to my hometown, it feels different to be in control of a region. Because of this, my clansman's status has risen greatly. No one dares to bully my Bronze Flame tribe, Iku said proudly. My home planet Earth is the same. For me to be able to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company, the people of Earth in the Black Dragon Mountain starfield all have extremely high statuses. Luo Feng smiled. Yeah, only when there are strong warriors in the clan will the clan's position rise. However, if we fall, then the clan's position will plummet. Iku's gaze sharpened, however. I will definitely work hard to become undying, definitely. Let's work hard together. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Luo Feng, you're still at the universe level. You can still quietly train under the protection of the Virtual Universe Company, accepting missions. Everything is within your control. Once you reach the Domain Lord level, you'll be sent out to various universe countries, controlling a large area of power and training. That's when you'll be in danger. Especially those at the sector master level, they aren't even allowed to bring along their guards. They will directly start all sorts of life and death training. Scenes appeared in Luo Feng's mind. He had not known Iku for long, but the two of them hit it off. Perhaps it was because the two of them had many things in common. The path to undying, it's tough. Luo Feng muttered softly, looking at the screen before him. The text of the email appeared on the screen. To all members of Yuxiang Mountain's Absolute Beginning District, our virtual universe company has just confirmed that Iku, an Absolute Beginning Domain Lord level member, ever since the Genius Battle, he has always been incomparably outstanding, however he has fallen. It was a sad news. The Absolute Beginning region directly recruited members through the Genius Battle and the Expert Battle. Every 10,000 years, they wouldn't absorb more than 20 people. However, as time passed, every few hundreds to thousands of years, there would be people falling. One after another, the geniuses would fall. Finally, those that could truly pass through the trials and become undying were extremely few. 95%. A number that made people's hearts tremble. This is the number that our Absolute Beginning region has calculated over countless years. 95% of the people in the Absolute Beginning region will fall. Yes. Right now, the 1137 people living in the Absolute Beginning region, 95% of them will fall on the path to undying. Only about 5% will make it to the end and become undying. I hope that all the surviving members will remain vigilant. Attend classes? Train? Missions? Send them to their home universe countries? Sector Lord level life and death missions? Our virtual universe company gives you a lot of freedom. The path is yours to choose, the danger level is yours to choose. You have to be responsible for everything. I hope that when you face death in the future, you won't regret your choices. Virtual Universe Company ********** 1 mail, all the 1137 members of the Absolute Beginning region received it. The entire region seemed to go silent. Absolute Beginning region, Manka Youth Wuka's Villa, living room. Luo Feng, Rong Jun, Ai Chen, Aopate La Wuka, Jiang Mo, Qian Shui, Lancelot. The 8 chosen to enter the Absolute Beginning region sat together for the first time. They usually formed a small circle. Luo Feng, Rong Jun and Wuka were close to each other. Aopate La and Lancelot were close, Ai Chen, Jiang Mo and Qian Shui were close. However, at this time, the 8 of them sat in a circle in the living room, all silent. 95% of them will fall. Lancelot, a devilishly handsome young man, mumbled softly, "When I think about geniuses dying one after another, and how the bustling Absolute Beginning zone has turned into a huge graveyard, I can't help but shudder in fear." Silence. The atmosphere in the living room seemed to freeze. It was incredibly stifling. Everyone felt the pressure. 95%. 95%, this number shocked the newbies. Luo Feng felt his entire body go cold. "I've been carefree these past few days. I've gone to classes, I've gone to the training grounds to train, I've studied time-space scribbles, I've been immersed in my research. My teacher even personally reminded me to take on the missions, to train and battle while studying, yet I didn't really take it seriously." Luo Feng's heart was cold. 30 years of peaceful life has made me numb. A true warrior can only be born from life and death situations. Through hundreds of training and life and death situations, only then can a true warrior be born. Silence. The 8 sat there, thinking about many things. "Who?" Luo Feng stood up. The other 7 couldn't help but look over. "Since I've walked this path, unless I choose to leave it and return to my peaceful life, I can only continue forward. If I fall, I can climb back up. If I'm heavily injured, I can recover. Only death is the end." Luo Feng's eyes were cold. The path to undying isn't something anyone can walk. Luo Feng turned and walked outside, rushing into the sky and vanishing. The other 7 were stunned. "Who?" Rong Jun stood up and said solemnly, "Luo Feng is right. The path to undying isn't something anyone can walk. If you don't have the heart, just leave. After saying that, he turned and left, rushing into the sky. Haha, good, isn't it just a battle? Haha, we Manka people are a race that loves to battle. Wooka too stood up and laughed loudly. However, his laughter seemed peculiar in the cold and oppressive atmosphere. Let's go. Jiang Emo stood up. Qian Shui followed her brother and left too. Iku's death was a harsh reminder to many members of the Absolute Beginning region, and the ones who were truly shocked were Luo Feng and the other 7. They didn't even realize how dangerous the path was before. Training mission. Rong Jun sat in his study room and tapped on the screen to take a closer look. Safety, normal, difficult, dangerous, impossible? The first time I go on a mission, there's no danger at all, there's no training effect at all. I can choose danger now, but I won't be able to choose in the future. However, the first time can't be too dangerous, after all I have no experience. Difficult level. Rong Jun opened the difficult level and began to choose the mission. Illusory sea plane rumble, the black ocean roared, waves that were 10 m tall smashed against the cliff again and again. Luo Feng stood on the cliff, gazing at the endless fantasy ocean. A strong warrior, other than talent, comprehension, hard work, techniques and resources, the most important thing is to have a strong heart. Luo Feng looked ahead, heart like a blade, willpower as one, on the path ahead, any obstacles are a joke. Along the way, with a fearful heart, do fearless things. Heart like a mirror, able to see through everything in the world. Heart like a blade, able to cut through all obstacles. Luo Feng's eyes were cold, after which he became a beam of light and flew towards the first island in Fantasy Ocean. Heart like a mirror, this was a mental state Luo Feng had reached long ago, able to maintain absolute coldness at all times. And after 30 years of meditation, his good friend's tragic death, this was a warning to him. It made Luo Feng reflect on himself, finally seeing through himself, willpower as one, heart like a blade, heart like a mirror, was reaching the extreme of one aspect of the heart. Heart like a blade, was reaching the extreme of another aspect of the heart. Hong and Thunder God, on the other hand, both attached great importance to spiritual cultivation. Their state of mind had long reached perfection. In terms of state of mind, Hong and Thunder God, who could be said to have reached the pinnacle of Chinese culture and yoga, had followed their ancestors and found various ways to hone their state of mind and finally reached perfection. Maybe they were weak in other aspects, but in mental state, Hong and Thunder God were considered the pinnacle of the universe, and Luo Feng's mental state was able to reach the state of heart like a mirror and blade. The gap between them had shrunk by quite a bit. Within Primal Chaos City, a group of people were listening to Tru Yan's lecture. Luo Feng was one of them. You want to affect me with this level of illusion? My heart like a mirror, able to see through all illusions. My heart like a blade, able to cut through all illusions. Break for me. Break. Break. Luo Feng's consciousness was like thunder. His roar shook the skies, causing the land and skies to tremble and collapse. The illusion was broken, revealing the original scene of the island. This was a white sand island, on it grew trees and flowers, it was quiet and beautiful. And Luo Feng was standing on the sand of one of the islands. In the distant ocean, it was pitch black. At this moment, a smear of white gradually appeared in the distance. It was an island that appeared in the depths of the sea of illusion. Only by passing through an island illusion would the next island appear in the sea of illusion. I really want to see what kind of illusion can stop me. Luo Feng immediately rushed into the sky, becoming a beam of light and flying towards the 6th island. Right, just now, he had already passed through 5 islands in Fantasy Ocean. The 5 islands didn't affect him at all. Chapter 495. In the deepest part of the Fantasy Sea, at the edge of the 21st island, a black-scaled old man covered in a golden robe was sitting cross-legged. He was the manager of the entire Fantasy Sea. The old man, whose face was covered in black scales, opened his eyes and looked into the distance, exclaiming softly, "A universe level 9 punk actually passed the Fantasy Ocean's 7th island so easily? Many sector lords don't even pass this island. He actually did it so easily." Let's look at his detailed information. Luo Feng, True Yen Emperor's disciple? True Yen Emperor is good at teaching, however, in terms of consciousness and willpower, he has no way of teaching. Let's see which island this punk can pass. If he can pass the 9th island, then he'll be amazing. That's something many sector lord pinnacles can't pass. The black-scaled old man smiled, looking into space and watching Luo Feng pass the Fantasy Ocean. After a while, he passed the 8th island? The black-scaled old man's eyes flashed with shock. He immediately stood up. He really passed the 8th island? The 21 islands of Fantasy Ocean were actually very similar to the 21 levels of the Heavenly Bridge. However, consciousness and willpower were very hard to fathom. A student-level punk, in terms of willpower, might not be weaker than a sector lord. Of course, his consciousness strength was definitely far from a sector lord's, but just willpower alone was hard to say. However, Fantasy Ocean didn't just test willpower, it also tested consciousness. His consciousness strength can't compare to a sector lord pinnacle. The black-scaled old man's eyes were filled with shock, saying solemnly, "He's at a disadvantage in the Fantasy Ocean, however obviously his willpower makes up for his lack of consciousness. His willpower is firm. His willpower is unshakable. He's actually stronger than many sector lord pinnacles." The 9th island. The black-scaled old man's eyes were filled with nervousness. The 9th island can be said to be the limit of a sector lord. Even amongst sector lords, very, very few can pass it. This Luo Feng, a universe level 9 punk. How can he pass it? It's impossible. The 9th island, the mountain rocks and sand were all white. The trees and plants were all green. Luo Feng was standing on the 9th island, on a mountain peak that was only 300-400 m tall. His entire being stood straight like a spear, his eyes cold, his gaze like a blade, without any hesitation or worry. Within a few seconds, the illusion along with the pressure completely enveloped Luo Feng. Boom! Luo Feng only felt like a huge mountain smashing into his consciousness. This was purely a battle of consciousness strength. Even many sector lord pinnacle warriors would feel dizzy when their consciousness was smashed, falling into an illusion amidst the dizziness, unknowingly losing. It was just like how some people with a strong will would rather die than sign, but if they were beaten until they almost fainted, they would unknowingly sign in a daze. It was the same principle. First, it was a heavy blow to his consciousness. It would make you almost faint, and then the illusion would invade. Rumble, almost like a huge mountain smashing into his consciousness. Luo Feng immediately felt a rumble. The sky and earth spun and his consciousness became blurry. Heart like a blade. Condense. Luo Feng's consciousness let out a roar. That almost crumbling consciousness immediately gathered together and regained consciousness. Willpower was equivalent to a general. Consciousness was equivalent to a soldier. The strength of one's consciousness depended on one's spirit strength, brain expanse, etc. The stronger one was, the stronger his consciousness would be. For example, a sector lord, emitting his soul pressure, could easily kill a star traveler or a star level. After all, even if this sector lord's willpower was average, his consciousness was simply too strong. Luo Feng's consciousness strength was that of a domain lord level 6 golden horned beasts. The golden horned beast was much stronger than a human of the same level, almost comparable to a domain lord level 9 pinnacle, close to a sector lord level 1 human's consciousness strength. Luo Feng's consciousness strength had reached the domain lord pinnacle. Right now, he was being smashed by a sector lord pinnacle's consciousness. Luckily, Luo Feng's willpower was incomparably strong, with an exceptional general as the leader. All his consciousness was condensed into one. he was able to withstand this attack without crumbling. If Luo Feng's consciousness strength was only at universe level, he would probably have crumbled in an instant. If the soldiers were too weak, no matter how strong the general was, it was useless. The soldiers weren't too far off, the general was extremely strong, but he still had a chance. Luo Feng, Little Hai fought with someone in the Ganwu dojo, and was killed by their bodyguard. The scene changed, Luo Feng's consciousness was in a daze from the attack, the illusion descended, Su Xin was shouting anxiously, this illusion even invaded Luo Feng's memories, attempting to merge with them. What, Little Hai he? Luo Feng was shocked. His heart was as cold as a mirror, even a speck of dust could be seen clearly. Luo Feng immediately felt something was wrong after the moment of confusion. Illusions are after all illusions shatter. Luo Feng's consciousness condensed like a blade, immediately discarding all illusions and slashing towards the sky. However, it only caused the illusion to tremble slightly. This tremble made Luo Feng laugh coldly. His consciousness was like a blade, quick as lightning he slashed out millions of times. Rumble, an extremely hideous and huge crack appeared in the illusory world. Then, the entire illusory world collapsed with a loud bang, and the scene of the 9th island appeared in the surroundings. In the distant Black Sea, a smear of white appeared. That was the 10th island. 10th. Luo Feng immediately flew over. In the depths of Fantasy Ocean, at the edge of the 21st island, the manager black-scaled old man revealed a look of shock. What powerful consciousness, what terrifying willpower, how long has it been since I've seen such a terrifying willpower? With such a terrifying willpower, if he doesn't die in a desperate situation, he'll become an absolute warrior. To be able to enter Fantasy Ocean meant that one's talent was extremely good. With good talent and exceptional resources to nurture, an absolute genius with terrifying willpower only had two paths: to die in a desperate situation, or to become an absolute warrior. Before, Bolin failed at the 7th island, Rongjun failed at the 6th island. Those two's willpower were already terrifying enough. However, this Luo Feng, the black-scaled old man, gulped. Such a terrifying willpower, even in life and death situations, as long as there's a sliver of hope, he'll be able to survive. Unless he dies in a desperate situation, he'll definitely become an absolute warrior. This news, we have to inform the upper echelons. The black-scaled old man's expression was serious. The more valuable one was, the more the virtual universe company would value them. Setting up the Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean and Undying Altar, was to test out the most exceptional of the geniuses. The Undying Altar was the least valued of the three, because almost all Sector Lord Pinnacle could reach perfect control of their bodies, and the Heavenly Bridge and Fantasy Ocean were things even many Undyings and Universe country leaders would attempt. Hence, the Heavenly Bridge and Fantasy Ocean were valued more. 10th Island. Luo Feng's gaze retracted, his consciousness condensed into one, like a mirror or blade, incomparably resolute. The 10th Island's illusion descended with an incredibly terrifying pressure, rumble. Almost like the sky itself crashing down, crashing into Luo Feng's consciousness. In an instant, his consciousness was completely destroyed. 10th Island, failure. No matter how strong one's willpower was, against a consciousness strength comparable to a normal undying, one would be like an ant smashed into pieces. An exceptional general could control 10,000 soldiers, using all sorts of schemes, controlling them like an extension of his arm, finally killing the enemy general who was protected by 1,000,000 soldiers. However, if the enemy had over 100 million soldiers, covering the sky and land like an endless ocean, no matter how exceptional that general was, he would definitely die. The 21st Island in the core of Fantasy Sea. The black-scaled old man was extremely serious as he wrote this letter, detailing all of Luo Feng's information, especially emphasizing on how terrifying his willpower was. Who? The black-scaled old man let out a sigh of relief after sending it. According to the old rules, I'll also notify True Yen and Jade Emperor. The black-scaled old man wrote another simple letter and sent it to them. Because according to the rules, Luo Feng would be 9 Blade Knights' subordinate in the future. Hence, the information regarding Luo Feng's growth had to be recorded and sent to 9 Blade Knights' subordinate Jade, who was in charge of this. And True Yen was Luo Feng's teacher, and he had specially told the black-scaled old man before. The black-scaled old man looked at the distant space and said softly, "Even those who have gone through many trials and difficulties, and have huge grudges, their willpower can't be this terrifying. And those with huge grudges, even though their willpower is firmer, they'll be more easily affected by the illusions. Such a terrifying willpower, what sort of fortuitous encounters must he have to create it?" The black-scaled old man exclaimed. Indeed. For Luo Feng to be able to reach this stage, he had many fortuitous encounters. One was that he had always been ruthless to himself since young, becoming a fighter and fighting in life and death situations. 2 was that the swallowing beast had already died, yet he managed to steal another body and revive. Reviving from the dead had a huge change to one's willpower. 3 was the effect of the golden-horned beast's bloodline on his soul, causing his heart to be incomparably cold. And after receiving Hong and Thunder God's teachings, according to the thousands of years of China and yoga, Luo Feng's heart like a mirror reached perfection. Luo Feng had always paid attention to his mental state training. With Iku's death and that letter, along with 30 years of meditation, Luo Feng's mental state had another leap, reaching the state of heart like a blade. Heart like a mirror, heart like a blade. It created such a terrifying willpower that wouldn't be affected by illusions. When the Fantasy Ocean Overseer sent Luo Feng's information to the upper echelons of the Virtual Universe Company, Luo Feng himself didn't know anything at all, returning to his study in the Absolute Beginning Region Villa. Fantasy Ocean, Heavenly Bridge, I've already reached my limit. Within a short period of time, I won't be able to advance any further. Luo Feng sat before his desk, looking at the laptop screen. Then I'll go through the missions now to train myself. Here's the first chapter. There would be 4 chapters today. This month's Vote Tomato wouldn't give up, he would keep working hard. Chapter 496. Luo Feng held the mouse and clicked on the backend management file. Among the 3 options, living, learning, and training, he clicked on training. The danger level of the missions are separated into 5 levels. Luo Feng looked at the screen and frowned. Which level should I choose? Looking at the 5 levels on the screen. Safe, 0% death rate, normal, 10% death rate, difficult, 20% death rate, dangerous, 50% death rate, impossible, 90% death rate. This is my first time accepting a mission, I know nothing about it. Luo Feng thought. I can't just randomly choose the impossible level from the start, stupidly choosing it would be irresponsible. If it was Wuka, Rongjun and the others, to be cautious, they might very well choose the difficult level. Then Luo Feng pondered and nodded, I'll choose the dangerous level. The dangerous level was the second most dangerous out of the 5 levels, the death rate was as high as 50%. Those who accepted the missions were all the most elite geniuses from the 1008 universe countries, they would all buy treasures and trump cards etc. Many didn't even dare to choose such a high level the first time, usually only after they had enough experience would they try the dangerous level. However, even so, the death rate was still as high as 50%, one could imagine the danger level. I'm different from them. I still have 2 great bodies, much stronger than my main body. Luo Feng thought, if I don't choose the more dangerous level, there won't be any challenge. Even though he was confident, he was cautious and didn't dare choose the most terrifying impossible level. 90% death rate. Impossible level. Those who dared to choose the impossible level had all made ample preparations and were incomparably confident. However, out of 10, About 9 would still die. Those that survived would probably have some luck involved. This was the impossible level. Luo Feng gently tapped and chose the dangerous level mission. D. A red word of warning appeared on the screen. Warning! Warning! Your Majesty Luo Feng, this is your first time accepting a mission. According to our Virtual Universe Company's calculations, the first dangerous level mission has a death rate of 78.2%. Please choose carefully. If you continue, please confirm, otherwise you will cancel this mission. Luo Feng frowned. The first dangerous level mission had a death rate of 78.2%. There's definitely a chance of survival in this mission. Since there's an impossible mission, I'll definitely try my best. This dangerous level mission definitely has a higher chance of survival. If I can't even pass the dangerous level, wouldn't that be a joke? Luo Feng didn't hesitate at all and directly accepted the dangerous level mission. A new page immediately appeared on the screen, and there was a detailed introduction on the page. Dangerous grade missions are missions that many Corps members often choose after they are confident in their training. The death rate is about 50%. Similarly, the more dangerous the mission is, the more points the reward will be. Below is the list of crisis-level missions. 1 Vesca Planet, Virtual Universe Company Primal Region. 7 Flame Palace, Virtual Universe Company Sky and Land Region. 6 Green Demon World, Virtual Universe Company Last Phase Secret Region. 9 Dragon Pagoda Planet, Virtual Universe Company Absolute Beginning Region. 18 9 Star Seas, Battleaxe Coliseum, Battleaxe Secret Realm. 29 Hell Battlefield, Universe Mercenary Alliance Glory Secret Region. 36 Blood River World, Virtual Universe Company, Absolute Beginning Region. 186 Flame Ice Continent, Universe Galaxy Bank Black Hole Secret Region. The densely packed list had a total of 186 missions that could be accepted. All of the training missions were directed to secret realms. These secret realms were all controlled and modified by the 5 big shots of the universe. The 186 special areas in these secret realms were where the training missions were located. 186? This Dragon Pagoda planet is within the Absolute Beginning region? Luo Feng gently opened the 9th mission Dragon Pagoda planet and looked at it. Universe secret regions, the small ones were comparable to a galaxy the size of the Milky Way. The large ones were comparable to a star sector, the size of the Ganwu universe country. How many planets were there in the Milky Way? How many galaxies were there in the Ganwu universe country? Hence, in the vast and mysterious universe secret realm, there might be a continent floating in the void or a special planet and so on. Anyway, the special regions within the secret regions were things that many people would probably never think of even if they racked their brains for their entire lives. Dragon Pagoda Planet, an ancient planet within the Absolute Beginning region. Over countless years, under the thick universe origin energy, this planet has produced many powerful dragon clans. Be it the Thunder Dragon that specializes in physical combat, or the Human Dragon that specializes in soul attacks, or the Golden Dragon that combines both. Luo Feng looked at the detailed introduction of the planet. The introduction was extremely long. And the mission of Dragon Pagoda Planet was to hunt dragons. To be a dragon hunter. It's indeed challenging. Luo Feng muttered. The strongest within the planet is comparable to a Sector Lord Pinnacle, and the weakest is at least a universe level. This leads to one having to be extremely careful during the hunt. The moment one is discovered by a powerful dragon, then it wouldn't be hunting a dragon, but getting killed by a dragon. Luo Feng looked through mission after mission, feeling shocked at many places. Blood River World is also within the Absolute Beginning region. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. The best choice of mission was within the Absolute Beginning region. Otherwise, just using a universe ship to travel would take a very long time. And within the Absolute Beginning region, there were a total of 5 special regions that provided dangerous level missions, and Luo Feng was leaning towards this Blood River world. Blood River world, a vast continent that floats in space formed within the absolute beginning region. The universe's secret regions are formed when the universe evolves, and this Blood River world is a powerful world that was formed very early in the absolute beginning region. Its age far surpasses even the most ancient human universe countries. Blood River world, countless powerful humans live within, forming their own language, culture, and training culture. They worship strength. The detailed introduction of Blood River world was very long, making Luo Feng extremely excited. Such a mysterious world, it actually has aboriginal undyings. Luo Feng was shocked as he looked. It's a pity, because it's within the universe's secret region, there are large amounts of dust and other obstructions, causing the undyings to be unable to accelerate to light speed and travel through universe. Hence, the aboriginal undyings still stay within Blood River world. Blood River world's diameter was close to 1 light-year, which was 9 trillion kilometers. With such a huge living area, the population of Blood River world was shocking. Plus it was constantly being nurtured by the universe energies, hence the strong were as common as the clouds. System notification. Blood River world hates outsiders to the extreme. Hence, to accept the Blood River world mission, one must first not bring any technological items. Some special spirit weapons and genetic energy weapons, unless they already exist within Blood River world, are not to be brought. One must dress according to the clothes of the normal people of Blood River world. If one's appearance is too peculiar, one will have to change their appearance and body to match the standards of Blood River world. Blood River world's language is different from the universe language. The person entering has to first learn the language. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Luckily, the humans of Blood River world have over 10 million races. My appearance is considered normal. Weapons. Studying the origin laws, using blades and spirit weapons, there's no difference. Language. With my consciousness calculation speed that's comparable to a normal quantum computer, I can learn it in half a day. Luo Feng finally decided to choose Blood River world. Because this was a brand new civilization that had been passed down for trillions of years. Humans were also the main force here, unlike the other mission worlds with all sorts of strange and peculiar things. Blood River World Missions 1. Acquire a Blood River crystal, Blood River World's specialty. The other parts of the universe don't have Blood River crystals. Success will earn you 10,000 points. 2. Acquire the Blood Warrior title, acquire the Blood River medal. Success will earn you 100,000 points. Reminder, 99. 5% of those who accept the Blood River World missions complete the first mission. As long as one of the 2 missions was completed, it would mean that the training mission was completed. D. Please confirm your acceptance of the Blood River World mission. Acceptance successful. Please fill in the departure time. The Virtual Universe Company will arrange a universe ship to send you to Blood River World. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at the mission. The reason why he chose Blood River World, 1, was because of its unique culture and training culture. 2. Because the dangerous level missions usually awarded 10,000 to 20,000 points. Very few would have 2 missions for people to choose from. Blood River World's second mission actually awarded 100,000 points. My God! What kind of concept was 100,000 points? Passing the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge only awarded 100,000 points. And Luo Feng had only passed the 5th level. To pass the 11th? He estimated that it would take at least a few thousand years. Blood Warrior title, Blood River medal? It might be difficult, but I still have to try. Luo Feng smiled. After accepting the training mission, Luo Feng started to make all sorts of preparations. The Nanshin armament is one of the 9 godly weapons of humanity. Blood River World doesn't have the materials to craft it. Hence, after entering Blood River World, I definitely can't take out the Nanshin armament. The gold shadow blade won't do either. How about this? I'll order a sharper blood shadow blade. Luo Feng ordered a blood shadow blade and a hexagonal shield. The materials were all available in Blood River World. Cloud Contact Vine? The Cloud Contact Vine is a support plant lifeform. It's very rare even in the 1008 universe countries. Blood River World doesn't have it at all. I can only let my Masha clansmen wear it for now. Luckily, the Space Ring Blood River World has it. I'll order another set of armor, boots and helmet. Luo Feng swiftly made his preparations. He had to make himself no different from the aboriginals of Blood River World. As Blood River World was huge, there were tens of millions of humans within. Hence, as long as he wasn't too special, there naturally wouldn't be any problems. However, if anyone were to play with a laser gun in Blood River World and be discovered by the Absolute Warriors, Sector Lords and Undyings of Blood River World, that person would die without a doubt. Because Blood River World didn't even have any technology research. Blood River World's language? Luo Feng spent 3 days of hard work. With a consciousness processing speed comparable to a basic quantum computer, he learned 18 different dialects of Blood River World. Everything is ready. P.S. Second chapter here. Tomato. Continue writing the third chapter. Chapter 497. Absolute Beginning Region. Mist shrouded the entire space. A huge ice planet had many star shards revolving around it, and Luo Feng's residence was one of them. Hey, what do you think His Majesty is preparing to do, buying so many things? Universe ships have been flying over these past few days. Who knows, anyway His Majesty has a huge amount of wealth. He can buy as much as he wants. A few universe-level guards were patrolling the villa and chatting. All of you shut up, don't talk about His Majesty. In the distance, a domain lord captain who was directing the people to move the boxes turned and roared. Yes. The guards immediately didn't dare to speak further. Humph. Only then did the captain turn and continue to direct. You all, move that large box over there. Right, move that large box over there. Move this big box over here. It's very important, so handle it with care. Within the entire villa, all sorts of boxes were placed over 10 kilometers in space. What a huge amount of items! Within Luo Feng's training room, the nutrition cabin was placed there. These past 3 months, Luo Feng had been lying within it. The cover of the nutrition cabin suddenly slowly opened. A naked, well-built, black-haired youth stood up from the nutrient solution that was already close to clear water. He immediately took a step out. At the same time, the surface of Luo Feng's body instantly heated up. The intense heat wave instantly evaporated the liquid on the surface of his body. A dark red casual outfit immediately appeared on his body. My body is Universe Level 9, my spirit reading is Universe Level 9. Luo Feng used a bit of strength in his body. His incomparably sturdy muscles all released a powerful force, causing the surrounding area to explode and tremble. It feels weird. It's this nutrition cabin. Luo Feng turned to look at the nutrition cabin. Within, there was still a lot of precious nutrition liquid that hadn't been used up. In a short 3 months, I've been able to raise to Universe Level 9 in one go. From when my body just evolved to now, it's already completely saturated. Luo Feng's body strength had already reached saturation and was unable to grow anymore. Unless he broke through to the Domain Lord level and caused his body's genes to change, only then would he have another round of growth. Of course, in truth, Luo Feng could raise to the Domain Lord level now. However, his internal world was only at Domain Lord level 6, causing his body to be unable to reach Domain Lord level 9 in one go. He could only bear with it for now. When Luo Feng walked out of his main building, the servants and guards that were busy within the villa were all shocked. Your Highness! Your Highness! Everyone hurriedly bowed respectfully. Your Majesty! Sector Lord Ao Duo 2 became a beam of light and flew out from his residence, bowing respectfully towards Luo Feng. Ha ha! Luo Feng looked at the large amount of goods in the villa, laughing. There's so much goods these few days, Ao Duo, sorry to trouble you. Of course. Ordo said hurriedly. Is everything ready? Asked Luo Feng. Your Highness, the goods you ordered have all been delivered. They are all here, Ao Duo said respectfully. Luo Feng slightly nodded, his eyes gleaming as he looked at the items before him. This large amount of goods that took up over 10 kilometers. He spent a total of 860 mixed elements to buy them all. Because he knew that points were incomparably precious, he tried his best not to use them. 860 mixed elements, and this is with the dividends Ping Hai Company gets every year. Especially with that financing, Luo Feng, the major shareholder, got a huge amount of dividends. Of course, most of the money came from Ping Hai Company. However, Luo Feng himself had close to 1,000 mixed elements, and this time, he used up 860 mixed elements. With all these, the golden horned beast deities of the world's second level will be able to reach a small success. Luo Feng thought. The goods before him included the Cloud Contact Vine's many precious items and items for heading to Blood River World. However, the most important was still the precious materials for the golden horned beast to train deities of the world. Training deities of the world had extremely harsh requirements. The weaker one was, the easier it was to train. Luo Feng had already trained the first level in Primal Chaos City. This was because the golden horned beast was still relatively weak, plus Luo Feng was able to buy many precious materials, hence he succeeded. Many golden horned beasts could only train the first level in their entire lives. The second level required incomparably rare materials. It was a pity that Luo Feng couldn't afford some of them. This time, Luo Feng spent 860 mixed elements, of which over 830 were used to buy some of the rare materials needed for the second level. This was considered the cheaper portion. As for the special ones, the treasure trove didn't even have them. Luo Feng couldn't even afford the expensive ones. Deities of the world's effects are extremely powerful. However, the requirements are too harsh. For example, the second level requires Kandro's feather. The treasure trove actually has a price of 12 million points. Some items can't even be found in the treasure trove. Luo Feng exclaimed within. No wonder this powerful technique was so hard to train. To complete the second level, the price was extremely huge. At least, Luo Feng, who was just a small fry in the virtual universe company, couldn't even see the light of success. Who? Luo Feng extended his hand and let Babata store all the goods into his storage space. With so many goods, the space needed to be 10 kilometers. However, the amount of space it took up wasn't that shocking. At least with Luo Feng's current status, buying a large space ring was very easy. The second day, Luo Feng was dressed in black armor and boot. On his back was a hexagonal shield and a blood shadow blade. These were all custom-made armors and weapons of Blood River World. And the Cloud Contact Vine, arm guard screen etc. other items that didn't fit the rules of Blood River World were all handed over to the Masha clansmen for safekeeping. Of course, Babata was hiding in his own storage space. According to Luo Feng's words, Babata, when you go to Blood River World, you are forbidden from revealing your existence. The most you can do is communicate with my consciousness. Damn, your teacher and I have been through many life and death situations. Relax. Babata said. Hm. Luo Feng stood in his villa and looked at the distant sky shrouded in mist. Rumble, in the distance, a universe ship slowly descended on Luo Feng's star territory. Your Majesty, you have to be careful when you go on missions. Ao Duo said respectfully. Luo Feng nodded and immediately became a beam of light and flew over. Send off, Your Majesty. Over 100 guards and over 1,000 servants said respectfully. In the distance, Luo Feng had already entered the universe ship sent by the Virtual Universe Company. Very quickly, the ship disappeared. In the dark universe, The fish-shaped universe ship was swiftly advancing. Your Majesty, we're heading towards Blood River World. Our speed has already reached 36 times light speed. We'll probably arrive in 19 hours. A woman with dark purple short hair, a flirtatious appearance, a furry tail, and a very serious aura introduced to Luo Feng. After 19 hours, I will inform Your Majesty. Your Majesty can rest now. Thank you. Luo Feng nodded. After which, Luo Feng sat on a sofa beside, pouring himself a glass of wine and tasting it. At the same time, he sent a bit of his consciousness into the virtual universe network to practice the blade technique Illusionary Seven Blade. As of now, every blade of the Illusionary Seven Blades had already been completely absorbed into Luo Feng's comprehension. Even so, of the 7 blades, Luo Feng was still most proficient in the Dutchman's pipe. Maybe it was because the Masha clansman was proficient in assassination, and training his blade techniques for a long time had the deepest comprehension of the Dutchman's pipe. Hence, Luo Feng's earth body was most proficient in the Dutchman's pipe. Familiarizing himself with the blade and movement, very quickly 19 hours passed. Your Majesty, immediately enter universe travel and return to the primal universe. The dark purple short-haired lady said coldly. Simultaneously, the ship's control room resounded with a countdown. 10 seconds later, the entire ship began to tremble and very quickly returned to normal. The ship had already arrived at its destination. External simulation. The dark purple short-haired lady ordered. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. The scenery around him changed and revealed the outside world. How beautiful! Luo Feng was shocked. The outside world was shrouded in mist, and all sorts of space dust shards were dreamy. In the distance, there was an incomparably huge palace that floated in space. This palace is called Tianshi Palace. Our virtual universe company's absolute warriors train here, and are also in charge of monitoring Blood River World. The dark purple short-haired lady introduced. Not far from Tianshi Palace, there's a large empty region. It's enough for a universe ship to accelerate and enter universe travel. Tianshi Palace monitoring? Luo Feng was shocked. Right. The dark purple short-haired lady nodded. As long as someone flies out of Blood River World, they'll be discovered. If it's one of us, he'll naturally be transported. If it's an aborigine of Blood River World, naturally he won't be that lucky. I'll send you here. Next, this place isn't far from Blood River World. I'll have to rely on Your Majesty Luo Feng to take your own ship. The dark purple short-haired lady said. Your Majesty should be bringing your own ship, right? This point is mentioned in the missions. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Hua. The cabin door opened. Dressed in black armor and boots, carrying a shield and blade on his back, he immediately flew out of the ship into space. Tianshi Palace. Luo Feng stood in space, looking at the distant palace. After which, he waved his hand and a silver pyramid ship appeared beside him. This was the automaton ship Luo Feng had acquired on Earth. This automaton ship was definitely a very high-quality ship. Whether it was mobility or defense, it was not bad. Ship camouflage, mimic a normal meteorite fragment. Luo Feng flew into the silver pyramid ship and ordered. Yes, master. The exterior of the automaton ship changed. Very quickly, it became a dark gray, looking like a normal meteorite fragment. It didn't stand out at all in space, after which it swiftly flew towards Blood River World with shocking speed. Standing in the control room, Luo Feng gazed ahead. In the distance, there was an incomparably huge and seemingly endless continent floating in space. The entire continent was enveloped in the cloud layer. This was Blood River World. There's still 3 hours before we enter the outer cloud layer. Luo Feng nodded. Blood River World, another outsider had arrived. P.S. Chapter 3 has arrived. Tomato will continue writing the 4th chapter. Please support me with your monthly votes. Chapter 498. Blood River World, The strong are as numerous as the clouds, even undyings exist. Luo Feng looked at the approaching Blood River world. I have to be careful, I definitely can't reveal my identity. However, it's weird. With the Virtual Universe Company's power, sweeping through the entire Blood River world is a simple matter. They obviously have the power to easily control it, yet they'd rather set up Tianshi Palace to watch over it in space and not take over the world. Luo Feng was suspicious. This didn't seem like the style of a large power in the universe. This isn't up to me. Luo Feng shook his head. 3 hours later, the automaton ship that looked like a meteorite finally rushed into the outermost cloud layer of Blood River world. I can't go any further. Luo Feng's thoughts move. After flying out of the cabin door, he let Babata keep the automaton ship in his storage space. Blood River world, there are a total of 18 cloud layers. Luo Feng had read through the mission introductions. There was a general introduction of Blood River world. There were a total of 18 cloud layers, and the higher one went, the greater the pressure. Only universe levels could rely on their own bodies to pass through these 18 cloud layers. However, the aboriginals of Blood River world could at most fly up to the 18th level, not daring to fly any further. Because they knew, the outsiders would kill all aboriginals that flew out of Blood River world. As long as they flew out of the 18th cloud layer, none of them would be able to return to the ground alive. There's no need to worry in space. However, in these cloud layers, I might meet the aboriginals of Blood River world. Luo Feng was dressed in black armor and boots, carrying a blade and shield on his back. He looked like a very normal Blood River world warrior. From the 18th cloud layer, Luo Feng followed the terrifying gravity and madly descended. The gravity is extremely strong. With such strong gravity, I'm afraid only a star level can fly in the sky. Luo Feng calculated within. A star traveler's body's magnetic field can't even defend against such a strong gravity. So. Luo Feng was like a shooting star, swiftly descending from the 18th cloud layer. The lower he descended, the faster he got. Under Luo Feng's control, he maintained a normal speed as he descended. After a total of 15 minutes, he finally broke through the first cloud layer. The scenery of Blood River world finally appeared before him. Wow! Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaim. The endless land below had an incomparably vast mountain range and forest. From Luo Feng's estimation, this ancient forest was at least 10,000 kilometers wide. Outside the forest in the distance, he could vaguely see a very small silhouette that was the silhouette of a city. In the ancient mountain forest, a visitor from the heavens came. When he fell into the mountain forest, the black figure's body surface directly burst out the surrounding tree branches, and then his speed decreased sharply. He slowly landed on the ground, the soles of his shoes stepping on the rotten dead leaf. The gravity is terrifyingly strong. To be able to live in Blood River world, normal people should be close to star traveler level. Luo Feng stood there, his consciousness swiftly calculating. The air here is formed from the universe energies, even the air has shocking strengthening effects. No wonder this Blood River world has so many strong warriors. Living in a universe secret region causes their bodies to be naturally strong, making it easier for them to cultivate. However, because they lived in a universe secret region, it was destined that even if they became undying, he also couldn't leave the universe secret realm to roam the vast universe, unless those undyings join the Virtual Universe Company. Luo Feng thought. However, the rotting smell in this ancient forest is really unbearable. At this time, about 2,000 m away from Luo Feng, on a thick and curved tree that required 20 people to wrap their arms around, there was a jade-green snake with a human face wrapped around it. That person didn't have a nose, only eyes and a mouth. She stared through the gaps between the branches, looking at the human silhouette about 2,000 m away. See la! An ear-piercing sound entered Luo Feng's ears like a shockwave. At the same time, a jade-green snake with a human face and a snake's body that was over 60 meters long left a blur of light and instantly appeared beside Luo Feng. At the same time, the human face's mouth fiercely opened and in an instant, a black hole with a diameter of 3 to 4 meters appeared, directly swallowing Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned, his eyes like blades as he looked at the savage snake-human face monster. This monster was at least 20 stories tall. Luo Feng was practically a speck compared to it. However, at this time, when Luo Feng looked over, the snake-human face monster's face revealed a look of fear. "Humph!" Luo Feng snorted coldly. "Rumble!" That monster immediately became powerless in mid-air. Following its momentum, it smashed into the thick tree's trunk and branches, after which it landed heavily on the ground. The huge snake body landed on the ground. The human face's eyes were bleeding green blood, and it remained motionless. This is what the aboriginals of Blood River World call the wild beast? This is just a beast with about star level 5 or 6 strength. Luo Feng thought. It actually wants to die by messing with me. Earlier, Luo Feng had only used his consciousness pressure to instantly suppress it, immediately causing the beast's head to turn into mush. Luo Feng's consciousness was extremely strong. It was at the pinnacle of Domain Lord level. Consciousness pressure was usually only obvious when there was a huge difference in strength. If one were to suppress a universe level, it would at most make the opponent feel uncomfortable. However, to suppress a star level that was 2 levels lower with just one look, it would cause the opponent to immediately crumble. Any random wild beast that pops out has star level 6 or 7 strength. Living in a universe secret region, it's truly blessed by the heavens. Luo Feng looked into the distance. I have to first leave this forest and head to the nearest city. Only by entering the city will I be able to quickly get the Blood River Crystal. Blood River Crystal, one of the special treasures of Blood River World. So, Luo Feng left a series of afterimages in his original position, immediately vanishing into the distance. At the edge of the forest, there was a team advancing. Young master, this is your first time in the wild beast forest. Don't get careless. Just walk around the outer perimeter and kill some wild beasts to train. Within the team, there was a man that was about 1.8 m tall. His entire body was terrifyingly sturdy. Especially his exposed arms, they were as thick as an adult's thighs. His face was full of beard that looked like knives, and his brown eyes were almost solid. He was speaking in a local dialect. "Uncle Thunder, with you here, there's nothing to worry about." Within the team, a youth dressed in silver armor, with purple engravings on his forehead, laughed and said. This youth casually held a black bow, and on his back was a quiver of arrows. That sturdy man couldn't help but laugh. However, suddenly he sniffed and his expression changed, shouting, "Everyone be careful, this should be the territory of the wild beast Mangu Beast." Mangu Beast. The other guards in the team had solemn expressions, however they were still relaxed. Against any wild beast, one couldn't be careless. This was a saying that had been passed down in Blood River World for a long time. However, the Mangu Beast wasn't a very powerful wild beast. The guards were very clear, as long as their team was careful, killing the Mangu Beast would be very easy. "Give me the Mangu Beast." The youth was very excited. "Young master." Uncle Thunder frowned. "No problem." The youth had already retrieved an arrow from the quiver on his back, knocking it on his black bow, ready to shoot at any moment. The team advanced carefully. After a while, as the team pushed aside the tree branches and continued to advance, they saw a skinny youth dressed in black armor and carrying a blade and shield sitting by the lake. He was eating some barbecued meat in his hands. At this time, a huge gray silhouette shot over from the distance, shocking the entire team. And the skinny youth seemed to have sensed something and turned to look stupidly at the huge gray silhouette. Looking to die. Seeing this, many of the guards thought that this youth, who had charged into the wild beast forest, was definitely an inexperienced person. Otherwise, why would he look at the attacking mango beasts like an idiot? A true warrior should be the first to deal with an advantageous situation on his own. At least, don't just sit there. Mango beast, it's a sky-level mango beast. Uncle Thunder communicated. Shio! A black light instantly streaked across the sky and directly hit the gray phantom, causing it to let out a cry of pain. At the same time, it quickly twisted its body and landed on the ground. It turned out to be a big furry fellow. It only had one claw, but that claw was as big as its entire body. At this moment, there was an arrow stuck in its body, and red blood was flowing out of its fur. So, as soon as it landed on the ground, it let out a strange goo-goo sound and angrily rushed towards the squad. Shio! The silver-armored youth's expression was serious, the purple engraving on his forehead glowed. His hands were like a blur as he quickly knocked another arrow and shot. But this time, the mango beast was already prepared. It twisted its body in mid-air and waved its sharp claws, knocking away the arrow. Ha! The muscular man pulled out the 2 axes from his waist, his arms becoming a size thicker. Rumble! In mid-air, a curved axe blade appeared, slicing through the mango beast's body. Following which, the curved axe blade disappeared, and the muscular man was already tens of meters behind the mango beast. Puff! The mango beast's body fell from mid-air, splitting into 2 halves. Blood and internal organs flowed onto the ground. Uncle Thunder is so powerful, too powerful. The silver-armored youth clapped his hands, extremely excited. Don't be careless in the future. The mango beast has 2 killer moves, one is its claws, the other is its poison gas. This mango beast has already reached sky level. If it gets close and releases its poison gas, then it will be troublesome. The muscular man lectured, at the same time ordering the other guards, collect the materials. Yes. The other guards immediately laughed and went to collect. The silver-armored youth walked towards the distant black-armored youth, smiling and waving, speaking with an old and experienced tone. Brother, where did you come from? At this time, the silver-armored youth was filled with the joy of saving someone. From his point of view, if it wasn't for that arrow, the black-armored youth would have died. Thank you. Luo Feng looked at the silver-armored youth and nodded. That beast before was only star level 1 or 2. That beast's ambush, Luo Feng had long known about it. He was prepared to kill it with one look. Who would have thought that this kind-hearted silver-armored youth would save him? However, the people of Blood River World, even though they worshipped strength, there were still such simple youths. Looking at the excited silver-armored youth, Luo Feng was filled with anticipation towards Blood River World. P.S. Chapter 4 complete. Chapter 499. After a while, Luo Feng and the team departed together, leaving the ancient forest. It's no trouble, no trouble. I've trained enough and can return home. If we go together, it'll be safer. The silver-armored youth was very excited. He thought within, this black-armored skinny youth before him obviously didn't have much experience. If he went alone, he might just lose his life. Since he was going back anyway, he might as well bring him along. The feeling of saving people is really good. The silver-armored youth thought within. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Naku, what about you? The silver-armored youth smiled at Luo Feng. I'm Feng, Luo Feng said. Feng. The silver-armored youth nodded and complimented. Good name. Big Brother Feng, you're obviously older than me. I'll call you Big Brother Feng. When we reach Swallow Mound City, if you have time, I'll bring you around. I've grown up in the city after all. Swallow Mound City? Luo Feng smiled and nodded. According to the information he got from the Virtual Universe Company, even though the information was rather detailed, Blood River World was after all an incomparably vast world. It couldn't be explained too much. It could only introduce the general situation of Blood River World, and if the secrets were too detailed, it wouldn't have the same effect as a training test for the core members. According to the information, in Blood River World, strength was split into Earth level, Sky level, Cloud level, Domain level, World level, and Undying level. This actually corresponded to the Star Traveler level, Star level, Universe level, Domain Lord, Sector Lord, and Undying level. And the cities of Blood River World were mainly split into Territory City and World City. A Territory City was the core of a territory. Every territory's leader would definitely have Domain level, Domain Lord, strength. A World City was the core of a world. The leader of a World City would definitely have World level, Sector Lord, strength. In the vast Blood River World, every World City had a diameter of a few 100 million km or even a few billion km, with trillions of people. In Blood River World, there were over 10 million World Cities. Above the World Cities were the high and mighty Undying Shrines. The Undying Shrines had high positions and usually didn't interfere with the ordinary matters of Blood River World. Looks like the place I landed belongs to Swallow Mound City. Luo Feng pondered within. Swallow Mound's main city should be the core of the surrounding tens of millions of km. The city lord is an area lord. I need Blood River crystals. However, the information provided by the Virtual Universe Company didn't mention much about the crystals. It's just that the Blood River crystal is a treasure of Blood River World. Even an idiot would be able to guess that it's a treasure. The company directly named this supercontinent Blood River. Do I still need to explain the importance of the crystal? Luo Feng already had a plan within. I'll head to the city. Blood River World civilization has long since developed words. There will definitely be books for sale within the city. I can use them to find out more detailed information about the crystals. Through bewitching and other methods, one could ask others. But how could a question compare to a detailed description in a book? A main city with a radius of tens of millions of kilometers would definitely be very prosperous. It would definitely have what he wanted. In civilized places, money is always very important. The materials from the wild beasts I've killed are enough to sell for quite a bit of money. Luo Feng already had a plan for what to do. He was an outsider. His identity had to be kept a secret. As he had just arrived in Blood River World, it was better to be low profile. This was also the reason why he descended into the forest and didn't fly straight to the city. He could get some materials from the wild beasts in the forest and sell them for money. That forest had an area of 10,000 kilometers. It could only be considered a very normal wild beast forest. The powerful beasts within were only star level 8 and 9. There wasn't even a single universe level. The silver-armored youth and Luo Feng's conversation was noticed by the tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle as well as the guards behind. This dumb punk, he's really lucky to have us brothers protect him. It's also because the young master is too kind. If it were me, I wouldn't even care. Hee brothers, speaking of which, when I saw this black-armored youth called Feng turn his head stupidly and look at the manga beast charging at him, I couldn't help but laugh. Haha, I really don't know how this dumb punk dared to enter the wild beast forest. Luckily he didn't meet any powerful beasts in the outer regions, otherwise he would have long become their feces. The guards communicated and conversed. All of you shut up. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle shouted through voice transmission. The group of guards' voice transmissions came to an abrupt halt. Be careful, we're already on the way back to the city. There's still a few thousand km from here, there will often be bandits. Captain, with you here, which blind bandit would dare come? Right, even if they came, they'd just be looking for death. The tall and sturdy man glanced at Luo Feng. He didn't have any good feelings towards this foreign punk that he saved along the way. The young master's kindness made him feel helpless. Because he was very clear, this was a world that worshipped strength. All sorts of schemes and killings would happen, kindness would only make the young master suffer. The old master pampers the young master too much, saying he'll wait till the young master is of age before letting him suffer. The tall and sturdy man shook his head. On the wide plains road, a blurry group of silhouettes were swiftly rushing forward. It was Luo Feng and the silver-armored youth Na Ku's team. As they rushed, they chatted leisurely, maintaining a speed of close to 1,000 kilometers per hour. To a group of Earth-level fighters, it was very easy. Look, in the distance is our Swallow Mound city. We're still about an hour away from it. The silver-armored youth pointed in the distance, the blurry silhouette of the huge city. He spoke in the local dialect. Luo Feng too spoke in the local dialect, only it wasn't pure enough. Rumble, the swiftly advancing Luo Feng and his little team all felt the vibrations from the ground. Turning around, they saw a vast black shadow swiftly closing in. Others might not be able to see it with their naked eyes, but Luo Feng could see it with a glance. There was a huge team far behind them. They were all riding on various tamed beasts. These tamed beasts were either huge or had wings on their backs. Their speed was extremely fast. Tamed beasts. Luo Feng could tell with a glance. Many of the tamed beasts were the ones he had killed in the forest earlier. Let's move aside. The tall and sturdy man communicated. Immediately the team moved to the side of the road. Behind them, there were hundreds of tamed beasts running past. The tamed beasts' thick hooves and sharp claws stepped on the ground, causing a cloud of dust to fly up. Then, they were quickly sucked into the ground by a powerful gravitational force. Haha, isn't this young Master Na Ku? An ear-piercing laughter swept through the surroundings like a storm. At the same time, the huge group that just rushed past quickly stopped. At the same time, a few dozen people riding their tamed beasts rushed towards Luo Feng's group. In a blink of an eye, the dozens of fighters riding their tamed beasts had already arrived in front of them. The leader of this team was a tall and handsome youth. He was riding a strange beast that was covered in scales. It looked like a tiger, however it was at least 10 m long. He was looking down at Na Ku, his face filled with glee. Yu Feng. The silver-armored youth's expression changed. Hee, it seems like that genius archer of ours is afraid? The tall and handsome youth's expression gradually turned cold. He sneered. You didn't expect it, right, to actually meet you outside the city. Young Master Yu Feng. A deep voice suddenly exploded out. The tall and sturdy man beside him took a step forward, his gaze sweeping across the large group of people behind the tall and handsome young man. He said in a low voice, Our family's old master has some relations with your Yu family. I hope that young Master Yu Feng will not do anything foolish. I'm speaking, it's your turn to interrupt? The tall and handsome youth roared fiercely, his expression contorted. Scram. Yu Feng, shut up. The silver-armored youth roared. Haha, the pure and kind Na Ku, haven't you seen the situation clearly? Outside the city, your old man won't be able to save you in time. The tall and handsome youth's expression contorted, his facial muscles twitching, his eyes almost shooting out a venomous glint. I can't forget the humiliation you gave me half a year ago. Beside, Luo Feng frowned. The two sides obviously couldn't compare. The Yu Feng team before them didn't even mention the large group behind them. Just the tens of underlings he brought. There was 1-star level 9 and 9-star level 7 and 8. And this side? The strongest in Na Ku's team, that Thunder Uncle, was only star level 6 or 7. We're in big trouble. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle was anxious. This team seems to have more than half of the Yu family's warriors, so many of them following a kid, it's too weird. Captain, what do we do? Captain, behind that Yu Feng young master is one of the 3 great warriors of the Yu family, Dripping Bloodblade, a pinnacle sky-level warrior. He alone can wipe us out. The team was in a mess. The silver-armored youth's eyes seemed to spit fire, staring angrily at the tall and sturdy youth on the back of the wild beast, roaring, Yu Feng, whatever you have, use it on me. Ah, what a strong warrior's demeanor. He really has a presence. The tall and handsome youth sneered, following which his expression turned gloomy as he roared, Men, teach this group of people a lesson, but don't kill them. I, Yufeng, am not such a cruel person, and capture Naku, tie him up. I want to get closer to him. Yes. The group of warriors on the back of the wild beasts replied in unison. Hua! The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle along with the group of guards all pulled out their weapons. The tall youth on the back of the wild beast laughed coldly. Whoever resists, kill them immediately. Of course, don't kill young Master Naku. He's a good brother that grew up with me. Do it. Immediately the group of intrepid warriors flew out from the back of the wild beasts, immediately pouncing towards Naku's team. P.S. The first chapter has arrived. I will definitely fulfill my promise. I will definitely update 4 chapters today. The battle for the monthly votes. I definitely won't stop. Fight. Our goal is to be number 1 in the monthly votes. Chapter 500. Luo Feng stood beside the silver-armored youth, frowning. He had just arrived in Blood River World. Luo Feng didn't want to cause too much of a commotion. Ha ha! Anyone who resists will die. That large group of intrepid warriors laughed maniacally, flying over. This was especially true for a skinny man dressed in blood-red armor, who carried a dark red saber on his back. He was currently scanning the guards of the silver-armored youth, and his gaze lingered on the tall and sturdy Uncle Thunder. And the tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle and his subordinates all had ugly expressions. They wanted to retaliate but didn't dare. The silver-armored youth Naku gritted his teeth and was filled with hatred. Rumble! The group of valiant martial artists, as well as the cold-looking lean man, were all startled. Scram! Like a thunder god's low roar, it resounded in the minds of the 10 people, including the tall youth. It was almost as though a terrifying pressure had descended upon them. However, when they felt that they couldn't resist and were about to die, the pressure left. Scram! 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 That angry roar reverberated in their sea of consciousness. The group of intrepid warriors immediately landed from mid-air, not attacking. Let's go! The lean man glanced at the team of silver-armored youths and shouted. Let's go! The tall youth shouted too, simultaneously staring at the silver-armored youth Naku. Looking at the arrogant group of people that left with their tails between their legs, whether it was young Master Naku or his subordinates the tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle and the other guards, they were all confused. Why did they leave? They left just like that? The guards couldn't believe that they had just escaped a calamity. Impossible. The silver-armored youth Naku stared wide-eyed. Yufeng, that bastard definitely wouldn't be so kind as to let me go just like that. There's a warrior secretly helping us. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle said solemnly, incomparably certain. Warrior? The group of guards, including the silver-armored youth, all looked suspiciously at the tall and sturdy man. Thunder Uncle, you said warrior? The silver-armored youth was suspicious. Uncle Lei nodded slightly and said solemnly, there are 3 possibilities. The first is Master. He dotes on you a lot and might have arranged for a super expert to protect you in secret. These words immediately caused the surrounding guards to nod their heads. Even the silver-armored youth Naku himself was a little hesitant, but he believed it a little. The second is that a mysterious expert is helping us in secret, Uncle Lei said. The third is that someone from the Yufeng clan is helping us. The first 2 make sense. You're saying that the Yufeng family has someone helping us. Naku was shocked. Captain, that's impossible. The group of guards couldn't believe it. Didn't you notice? Dripping Blood Blade and the 9 guardians were among the dozens of people who came with the Yu side. The burly man, Uncle Thunder, looked solemnly at the large army in the distance. There are hundreds of people in this army, but just a few dozen of them are already so strong. There must be many experts among the other hundreds of people. If it wasn't something extremely important, they wouldn't have sent so many experts. Who knows, within that large army, there might be the true leader of the entire army. Uncle Thunder said solemnly. They are doing something big, and doing something big, they are most afraid of causing trouble. That leader might be dissatisfied and send a voice transmission to order them all to return. Makes sense. The group of guards nodded. Uncle Thunder, you're amazing. The silver-armored youth Naku laughed and praised. But I'm curious, the Yu family has so many experts, maybe some of them are from other powers. Such a strong army, what are they doing? Uncle Thunder frowned. Even if the head came out, he wouldn't bring so many experts. Right. There must be something important. Yu Fong brought his subordinates and swiftly returned to the large army. Third uncle, just what kind of expert was helping them in secret? Don't tell me even you aren't a match for that expert? Yu Fong looked at the skinny man beside him. This skinny man was one of the 3 strongest warriors of the Yu family, Dripping Blood Blade Yu Yen Ta. He was a star level 9 pinnacle warrior, and was extremely strong in the same level. The skinny man Yu Yen Ta's eyes twitched, his eyes filled with shock. He communicated, Yu Fong, that hidden expert is extremely very strong. If it wasn't for him not wanting to kill and stopping, I'm afraid I would already be dead. What? Yu Fong's eyes stared wide open. My God. He was only a Earth-level star traveler, and he felt danger. But his third uncle was a sky-level, star-level, pinnacle warrior. Even his third uncle felt that the opponent didn't even need to make a move to kill him. This meant that this mysterious warrior's power was simply too terrifying. What level is this person? Cloud level. Yu Fong shook his head. Even cloud levels aren't that strong. Cloud levels aren't that strong. A cloud level can't just use consciousness pressure to make me unable to resist. The lean man, Yu Yen Ta, nodded his head and transmitted, I estimate that the hidden expert should be at the domain stage. Looking at how he instantly suppressed a group of people and didn't kill anyone, his control over his consciousness and pressure is considered very powerful amongst the domain stage. Domain level? Yu Fong was stunned. Swallow Mound territory, an area of tens of millions of km, with billions of people living there. The leader of Swallow Mound territory was only a domain level, domain lord. Domain level was already the most powerful being in Swallow Mound territory. It wasn't something a family like theirs could mess with. With a flick of a finger, they could wipe out their entire family. Naku, that punk, how could he provoke such a powerful being to protect him? Yu Fong couldn't believe it. Yu Fong, you bunch of people, hurry up and return, don't waste time. Yen Ta, we're going all out in this gamble. Don't you know how important it is? You're actually messing around with Yu Fong? An old voice resounded in Yu Fong and Yu Yen Ta's minds. Uncle, I have something to report. Yu Yen Ta communicated. Speak. Uncle, just now when Yu Fong went to teach that Na family young master a lesson, I discovered something. Behind Naku, there's actually a terrifying domain-level warrior. Domain level. That calm old voice was also shocked. Yes. How sure are you that it's a domain level? That old voice was in disbelief. Could you have made a mistake? 99% sure. To be able to make me collapse with just consciousness pressure, I'm afraid it's only a domain level. Yu Yen Ta reported respectfully. Who is it? The old voice hurriedly asked. A domain-level warrior could completely change the distribution of power within a territory. If it was a strong domain-level, domain lord, they could even directly kill the current city leader and gain the recognition of the Undying Shrine, then they could become the new city leader. Not sure, maybe he's hiding within Naku's troops or somewhere we can't see. He's much stronger than me, so I can't be sure. Yu Yen Ta said. And let's get to the bottom of this, let's return to the city first. Yes. The Yu family's army quickly advanced. However, the existence of a domain-level expert caused the higher-ups to panic. Provoking a domain-level expert was akin to courting death. 800 km away from Swallow Mound City, the wide road passed through a huge mountain. This mountain was split into two, forming a huge valley. Within the valley was the path. And at this moment, on the peak of this mountain that was once split by a warrior, many silhouettes stood. A total of 13 people. They were all wearing armor and boots, all wearing helmets, only their eyes could be seen. They all carried axes on their backs, some with 2 axes, some with 1 hand. Their armors were mainly black, blood red and gold. Big brother, they're here. The Yu family's troops are here. The leader was huge, wearing gold armor. Beneath the helmet, his blood-red eyes gazed downwards. Coldness flashed across his eyes as he roared, "Brothers, let's go, take the goods!" Hong, 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 hong. 13 silhouettes shot down from the mountain peak like 13 cannonballs. When these 13 silhouettes swiftly shot down, they immediately attracted the attention of the troop. The leader of the troops was a black-bearded old man who raised his right hand and roared, "Stop!" And on the wide road ahead, 13 silhouettes crashed down. 13 people, like 13 demon gods standing there. 10, 13. The black-bearded old man's face went pale. 13 acts. At the front of the troops, the skinny man beside the black-bearded old man, Yu Yen Ta's face was also pale. Why are they here? Impossible. Within Swallow Mound territory, there were a few strong warriors who were extremely strong. They were much stronger than these merchant families. For example, the 13 Acts was an organization formed by 13 warriors with similar interests. This organization didn't have any small fries, just these 13 people. However, in the entire Swallow Mound territory, how many families would dare offend the 13 Acts? What did they rely on? Because within the 13 acts there were 3 cloud levels, 10 pinnacle sky levels. Domain level, Domain Lord, within Swallow Mound territory, it was considered a dominating power, dominating the entire Swallow Mound territory. Cloud level, Universe level, within Swallow Mound territory, it was considered a pinnacle power, considered a hero. What do we do? What do we do? We can't lose these goods. The Yu family troops were in a state of panic. Lords of the 13 Acts, if you have any orders, just say them. The black-bearded old man was nervous within, but on the outside he still shouted heroically. "You family?" A low voice came from the 13 demon god beings. The leader spoke, "Hand over the armor from the ancient god ruins, and we'll spare your lives." The black-bearded old man stared. "Quickly run." The black-bearded old man's expression was savage. He communicated fiercely. "Rumble." The entire troop seemed to be prepared. In an instant, a group of sky levels, star levels, madly flew in all directions. At the same time, large amounts of earth levels began to swiftly flee, either climbing the mountain or following the road back. Yu Fong and the skinny man Yu Yen Ta also returned the way they came. "Yen Ta, quickly go to that Na family punk. If that domain level being is there, our Yu family still has hope." The black-bearded old man communicated mentally. "Yes, great uncle." The skinny man communicated mentally. P.S. Chapter 2 has ended, continue writing Chapter 3. Tomato, continue fighting. Chapter 501. As the hundreds of Yu Fong family members began to madly flee, the leader of the 13 Axes' blood-red eyes gleamed with killing intent. He communicated mentally, "Kill them all, don't leave a single one alive." Haha, understood. They can't escape. 9th brother, 13th brother, it's up to you. Of the 13 Axes, including the leader, 11 of them quickly turned into afterimages, chasing after the stronger members of the Yu Fong family. There were also 2 men dressed in black armor who laughed savagely as they extended their hands. Instantly, a blur of lights shot out in all directions. Luo Feng was able to control 10 throwing knives with his full strength when he was at the student level 9. Now if he didn't pursue power, instantly controlling thousands of little golden knives wasn't hard. Of course, if he pursued power, he could only control 10. These 2-star level pinnacle warriors, Each immediately released over 100 small and extremely thin flying axes, about half the size of a palm, 1 millimeter thick. Densely packed flying axes and concealed weapons covered the sky and covered the earth as they shot out violently in all directions. No! Quickly! The large number of fighters that were fleeing immediately went into a frenzy, as their comrades around them were either beheaded by the flying axes, or pierced through the forehead, fresh blood splattered, skulls flying everywhere. In an instant, the entire canyon was dyed red. A nightmarish scene descended. This large group of Earth levels, Star Traveler, were simply slaughtered. In just a few seconds. Within the entire canyon, there weren't more than 20 people from the Yufeng family left alive. My God! The black-bearded old man sat paralyzed on the ground, his face covered in blood from the others, his eyes staring wide open. Chi! A small flying axe that was as thin as a cicada's wing left a blinding flash in mid-air, after which it sliced through the black-bearded old man's head, like slicing through tofu. No. Not here. This old punk has a space bracelet on him, however. It doesn't have the armor we need. The two from the 13 Axe who knew how to control their weapons swiftly inspected the important corpses, only finding a space item, and that space bracelet didn't have the items they needed. The majority of the people fleeing back, those 10, have all escaped the canyon. Relax, big brother, and the rest have already chased over. Chase over. So, whoosh. The two of them turned into streaks of light and chased after him. On the wide road, more than 10 people were fleeing in panic. Quick! Quick! The group of people's faces were filled with terror, especially the tall and handsome young man in the middle, young Master Yufeng. His face was ashen, and he was extremely anxious. He transmitted his voice and shouted anxiously, Third uncle, bring me along and escape, bring me along and escape." However, third Uncle Yu-Yen-Ta, who was the strongest in the group, had already escaped far away and did not care about him at all. "Haha, you still want to escape?" In the distance, a golden-armored demon god broke through the air, and his laughter echoed in the ears of the dozen people who were running away. Behind the golden silhouette, there were other figures flying over at high speed. "Go to hell!" The gold-armored demon god's silhouette immediately dove down. At the same time, the wild cloud level, universe level, genetic energy fiercely shot out in all directions with him as the center. Immediately, everything within a few hundred meters exploded. The universe-level genetic energy contained a terrifying force that instantly blasted the surroundings into ruins. At the same time, screams, shouts, and screams rang out. "No, no, no!" Yufeng screamed in fear, but his body seemed to have been hit by countless hidden weapons, and in an instant, he was riddled with holes. Even his head had a few pebbles pierced through it, and he exploded into a pile of mush. Young Master Yufeng died. Na-ku. Before he died, Yufeng's eyes stared wide open. He wished so much to be able to rush to Na-ku's team. At least there was a chance of survival. However, his speed was too slow, too slow. Yufeng's team only had one person left who was still fleeing. That was one of the 3 strongest warriors of the Yu family, the pinnacle sky-level, dripping blood blade Yu-Yen-Ta. Even within the 13 Axe, he would be ranked 4th or 5th. From the start, he had swiftly flown back the way he came, using his fastest speed. He didn't care about Yufeng, because he knew if that armor was gone, the Yu family in the main city would be finished. I shouldn't have agreed back then. The treasures within the ancient god ruins are something our Yu family can touch? Hate that we were too greedy, too greedy! Yu-Yen-Ta, who was flying swiftly, felt pained. Back then, when the Yu family saw the huge benefits of success, their greed surpassed their fear, causing them to take a gamble. Yes, this was a gamble. "Haha, dripping bloodblade, you still want to flee?" A voice resounded in Yu-Yen-Ta's ears. Yu-Yen-Ta turned to look. In the distance a gold silhouette was breaking through the skies, causing Yu-Yen-Ta's expression to turn even uglier. Of the 13 Axe, the eldest, third and seventh were the ones he didn't want to meet the most. Because these three were all cloud level, universe level, he had enough confidence in the other 10. Naku! Naku! Yu Yen-Ta furiously sped up, staring into the distance. Suddenly a team of 10 appeared. Amongst them was the familiar silver-armored youth Naku. This caused Yu Yen-Ta's eyes to gleam with hope. His face flushed red, shouting with all his might, "Young Master Naku, save me!" Luo Feng and the others were close to 200 kilometers away from the Yu Feng family team. However, Yu Yen-Ta was after all a pinnacle star level. Even though the gravity of Blood River World was so strong that even star travelers couldn't fly, Yu Yen-Ta's speed could still reach 1.8 kilometers per second. If there was no gravity in the universe, a pinnacle star level's speed was about 150 kilometers per second. Blood River World's gravity was shocking. Yu Yen-Ta's speed was 8 kilometers per second. Close to 200 kilometers, that took him tens of seconds to fly. Tens of seconds, the rest of the Yu family's huge team were all swept away. "Young Master Naku, save me!" The roar infused with genetic energy immediately resounded throughout the land and skies, causing Luo Feng and Naku, who were rushing to be stunned, and looked up. In the distance there were two silhouettes, one in front and one behind, swiftly flying towards the team. Especially the golden silhouette at the back, that huge energy emanated from him. It's Yu Yen-Ta. Behind him is the leader of the 13 Acts. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle could tell with a glance, revealing a look of fear, communicating, hence listen up, don't ever mess with the leader of the 13 Acts. Young Master Naku, don't ever help Yu Yen-Ta. We won't be able to help, instead we'll lose our lives. Naku's expression was pale. The leader of the 13 Acts? Within the tens of millions of km of Swallow Mound territory, this was definitely a powerful figure that everyone respected. Save me! The skinny man Yu Yen-Ta's face was filled with panic and fear, swiftly flying towards Naku's team. Naku's team, however, just stood there without moving, obviously not wanting to interfere. Rumble! A terrifying energy rippled over from behind. Not good. Yu Yen-Ta looked behind him, only to see the demon god figure shrouded in golden battle armor holding an axe. He had already swung it, directly chopping towards him. The huge axe blade formed a high-pressure shockwave, visible to the naked eye rippled towards him. This caused Yu Yen-Ta's eyes to turn red, desperately waving the blade in his hand. Dang! Yu Yen-Ta's entire body was smashed into the ground, his entire body's bones shattered. Aye. Yu Yen-Ta stared wide-eyed, blood seeping from the corner of his mouth, following which his head drooped, no longer breathing. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, another two silhouettes landed one after the other. Big brother, have you found the item? The two tall and sturdy men shouted. It should be on him. The leader looked at Yu Yen-Ta's corpse on the ground, before grabbing Yu Yen-Ta's bracer and turning back to look at his brothers. Third brother, seventh brother, this is a spatial bracer. The eyes of the two who had just finished a massacre lit up. Luo Feng and Naku's team stood there, not daring to advance or flee. Just like what the information says, Blood River World respects strength, killing can be seen everywhere. Even a high-position punk died just like that. Luo Feng glanced at the distant corpse of Yu Yen-Ta, shaking his head. At this time, silhouettes continuously descended from mid-air. The 13 acts have all arrived. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle's eyes were filled with shock. 13 acts, the legendary 13 acts. The silver-armored youth Naku's eyes were filled with excitement and nervousness. These were all legendary warriors. Killing the Yu Feng family's team was simply like killing chickens. These were true warriors. True absolute warriors. Not far away, the leader of the 13 acts frowned. How can there be none? What none? Big brother, there's no armor in the space arm guard? Have you checked the others? The leader looked at the other brothers, the other 12 all replied. No, we've checked, only one of them had a space item, and that item doesn't have the armor we want. That blood-dripping blade was asking them for help. The gold-armored leader's blood-red eyes looked at the distant Na-Ku's group, causing the guards under Na-Ku to immediately panic. The leader frowned. They could very well be the same group as the Yu family, just that they're split into two groups. Big brother, just kill them and look again. What's the point of thinking so much? The leader nodded. Kill them? To the 13 acts, killing a few rich family teams within Swallow Mound territory was simply as easy as stepping on ant. In Blood River Continent, it didn't matter if you were right or not, as long as your fist was bigger, you were right. We have nothing to do with the Yu family, don't kill us. Spare us. Including the tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle, the group of guards all revealed expressions of fear. Even the simple youth Na-Ku, who was filled with fighting spirit, had a look of panic on his face. So troublesome. Luo Feng shook his head. This group still has 3 universe levels. Just using consciousness pressure alone won't be enough. I'll have to personally make a move. Looks like the information was right. There are many times in Blood River World where we have no choice but to kill. Rumble. The 13 acts that were originally looking coldly at Na-Ku's group, one of them was about to use his weapon to attack. However, at this time, the 13 of them simultaneously revealed expressions of fear, because in an instant, a silhouette appeared before the 13 of them, a black-haired youth dressed in black armor. 13 images simultaneously appeared before the 13 of them. P.S. 3rd chapter has arrived. Continue to the 4th chapter. The monthly vote gap has actually widened. I hope everyone can support Tomato. Chapter 502. How can that be? Including the leader of the 13 acts who was high above, the 13 of them all stared wide-eyed in shock. Because the enemy's appearance was simply too fast and unpredictable, it was almost like he teleported. However, amidst the shock, they all desperately wanted to use their weapons. 13 images, 13 Luo Fengs. Luo Feng's eyes were cold, his gaze like a blade. The 13 images all stared at the 13 axe members. The blade lights flashed. The 13 blade lights were so beautiful it could break one's heart, infused with an endless amount of hatred. Na-Ku, Thunder Uncle and the group watching from the side, including the 13 acts who were being attacked, couldn't help but be affected by the concept of the blade. Their consciousness was drawn in by the blade. Chi, 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 chi. The 13 blade lights were like precise scalpels that followed the gaps of the helmets, directly entering the helmets and retracting. The continuous 13 blade lights flashed and disappeared. The images had already vanished. Luo Feng stood there, sheathing the blood shadow blade on his back. Silence. The 13 warriors stood there, not moving at all, and the simple youth Na-Ku, Thunder Uncle and the group of guards were completely immersed in the concept from before, unable to pull themselves out. Luo Feng couldn't help but turn to glance at them, his consciousness pressuring slightly, causing these completely immersed punks to immediately wake up, one by one realizing what had happened. Why are the 13 acts standing there not moving? I wasn't seeing things before, I just saw. A guard said stunned. Shut up. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle roared. The guard was immediately shocked awake. Dead, the 13 acts are dead. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle transmitted his voice. Don't you see the faint traces of blood in the gaps between the helmets and armors of the 13 pairs? Moreover, you guys can be considered to have some strength. Don't you see that the 13 axes have no aura at all? It's true, it's the bloodstains. I can't feel any energy at all. My God, I didn't see wrongly right. That idiot Feng, no, that black armored warrior casually attacked and simultaneously killed the 13 of them, and the 13 acts didn't even have time to retaliate? I just saw 13 black-armored experts attacking at the same time. That saber light was really mesmerizing. The group of guards were completely subdued. Blood River World, what they worshipped was strength. Furthermore, this kind of enchanting saber technique was even more shocking. I'm so stupid, so stupid. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle's body trembled slightly. The first time I saw this expert, he wasn't looking at the Man-Goo Beast stupidly, he didn't even see the Man-Goo Beast as an opponent. Even 3 Cloud Level 13 acts were instantly killed before they could even retaliate. Do we even need to talk about the Manga Beast? That group of bastards said that he was stupid. We are the ones who are stupid. That's right. Previously, when Yufeng led his troops to humiliate young master, they all ran away in fright. It must have been this expert who helped them. To be able to scare someone like Dripping Blood Blade into fleeing with his tail between his legs without making a sound, this is what you call an expert, a super expert. The silver-armored youth Naka looked at Luo Feng with a gaze of passion and madness. An expert. A true expert. A super expert. Naka muttered, the 13 acts, killing a warrior like Dripping Blood Blade Yu Yen Ta was easily done. He's a legendary warrior. However, Big Brother Feng actually made a move that the 13 acts didn't even have time to retaliate. Even after they were killed, they still stood there without moving, almost like they didn't even move. What kind of strength is this? Young master, this is a true absolute warrior. That kind of low-profile warrior who trains hard. Thunder Uncle's face was filled with excitement communicating, he has a good impression of you. You should hurry and get closer to him. To be able to be on good terms with such an absolute warrior, it's better than anything else for our Na family. Don't argue. Nako couldn't care less about his family's mess. He was only filled with excitement. The excitement of meeting a legendary idol. Naku was nervous, however he gritted his teeth and walked towards Luo Feng. After Luo Feng killed the 13 acts, he couldn't be bothered with the guard's stupidity. His spirit energy spread across the 13 acts and Yu Yen Ta's court. These 13 acts are indeed rich, every one of them actually has a storage item. Luo Feng's spirit energy scanned and confirmed. Following which, under the control of his spirit energy, be it the storage bracelet, wrist guard, arm guard or belt, they all separated from the 13 axe corpses and were kept into his space ring. Let's check and see what's inside. Luo Feng flipped his hand and took out a space bracelet. His spirit energy seeped in and began to check. Feng, Big Brother Feng. An excited and nervous voice resounded. Luo Feng turned and saw the red-faced, silver-armored youth Naku. His eyes filled with excitement and nervousness. At this time, Naku took a deep breath, his eyes filled with worship and excitement. Big Brother Feng, are you one of those legendary low-profile tough trainers that constantly roams the continent? Tough trainers? Luo Feng was slightly stunned, after which he nodded and smiled. I guess so. Naku was extremely excited. I heard that the tough trainers are all very low-profile and powerful. From one world to another, constantly roaming. Their knowledge is vast and they've been to many mysterious places, like the Blood Demon Ocean, Forbidden Mountain Range, Ancient God Ruins, etc. Have you been there before? Luo Feng was shocked. The youth before him looked at him with a gaze of worship and longing, asking him where he had been. However, what kind of places were those? He had been to the Dark Universe, the Primal Universe, Primal Chaos City, the world within a world, the Absolute Beginning region, and even the Virtual Universe Company's headquarters. However, the Blood Demon Ocean, Forbidden Mountain Range, and Ancient God Ruins of Blood River World, he had never even heard of them. Never been. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. Maybe I'll have the chance in the future. Naku said excitedly. I heard that the Blood Demon Ocean is 800 worlds away from us. Even the city leader of a world city would take a very long time to get there. Luo Feng was shocked within. The distance wasn't far, however Blood River World didn't have any technological ships, one could only rely on flying. Plus the gravity was huge. 800 worlds away? The Aboriginals of Blood River Continent referred to a world cities area. Every world cities area had a diameter of a few 100 million km, over a billion km. Such an area, even if one traveled 100,000 kilometers in a day, it would still take 10,000 days to travel through a world. 800 worlds, how many years would that take? Luo Feng and Na Ku's team walked towards the distant vast Swallow Mound city, simultaneously checking the items left behind by the 13 Act. With this check, Luo Feng was pleasantly surprised. There's actually so much currency, these 13 acts are really rich. With this money, it'll be much more convenient for me. Luo Feng wasn't happy about the money. What he was truly excited about was, there's actually so many books, mainly training techniques and techniques. There's also a portion of general knowledge and encyclopedias that one needs to know about roaming the continent. These techniques and techniques, Luo Feng didn't even care about them. After seeing the thousands of techniques in the time-space scribbles, any technique Luo Feng could casually create would be better than these. One had to say, Blood River World's training, compared to the Holy Land Primal Chaos City, was on a completely different level. General knowledge, encyclopedias and encyclopedias. Luo Feng casually took out a book. The pages of the book were made from a soft and tough material. On the cover of the book were 3 words, Blood River Crystal. Before, I was still worrying about not knowing anything about the crystal. Now I have a book that introduces it in detail. Luo Feng was very happy. The money and techniques didn't mean much to him. As he rushed, he used his spirit energy to scan the book and swiftly read through it, understanding the details of the crystal. Blood River Crystal, the treasure of the entire continent. It had an incomparably mysterious power. It was a treasure bestowed by the god spirits to the continent. Only the high and mighty Undying Shrine would occasionally give out a crystal to the world cities. Other than the high and mighty Undying Palaces, no power, no one could create Blood River crystals. No one even knew where they came from or how they were created. The crystal could be absorbed into a person's body, producing an incomparably mysterious effect. As for where it was mysterious, these books only had various guesses. No one really knew how mysterious the effects were. However, not everyone could absorb the crystal into their body. This had a very high requirement for a warrior. Under normal circumstances, the more one killed, the easier it was for them to absorb a crystal. Absorbing the Blood River crystal was something every fighter in the vast continent yearned for. However, the crystal was too precious, too rare and too rare. In the vast continent, the Undying Shrine had set a rule. Domain level, domain lord, warriors had to absorb 1 crystal before they had the right to lead a territory. Otherwise, normal domain level warriors wouldn't have the right to be a leader. World level, sector lord, warriors had to absorb 1 crystal before they had the right to lead a world city. Blood River crystals were rare and precious. Absorbing them was extremely difficult. Absorbing 1 was already difficult. Absorbing 2 would raise the body's requirements by 10 times. Absorbing 3 would raise the body's requirements by 100 times. The further one went, the harsher the requirements would be. There was a legend on the continent: a martial artist, after absorbing 3 crystals, would gain an incomparably mysterious power. Such a martial artist would be called a blood warrior. Blood warriors could go to any world city to receive a Blood River medal. Every one of them was the pride of the continent. A warrior who absorbed 10 crystals, such a warrior would be called a black warrior and could go to the Undying Shrine to get a precious Black Blood River medal. Blood warrior was a legend, only one would be born in countless years. Black warrior? That was purely a legend. No one even knew when a black warrior had been born. Maybe there hadn't been a black warrior in trillions of years. So it's like that. Luo Feng closed the book. He was filled with glee within. No wonder the reward for the Blood Warrior title is 100,000 points. And the reward for a single crystal mission is only 10,000 points. The difference in difficulty between the two is too huge. Looking up, in front of him was the ancient city gate that was hundreds of meters tall. Swallow Mound City, he had arrived. Chapter 503. As the center of tens of millions of km, this main city, Swallow Mound City's walls were about 300 m tall. It was continuous and one couldn't see the end of it, almost like an endless black mountain range. And the city gate of Swallow Mound was close to 100 m wide and 200 m tall. A group of intrepid soldiers dressed in scale armor were collecting the entrance fee. Quickly, pay up. You want to go in without money, you're looking to die. This group of intrepid soldiers were wielding large blades or huge axes, shouting and yelling from time to time. Luo Feng looked over and was shocked that the aboriginals of Blood River World were indeed very strong. Even these guards were all Star Traveler level 5 and above. If placed on Earth, any one of these soldiers would be considered a demon god level being. Of course, in Blood River World, they were just normal soldiers. Young Master Naku is back. Why aren't you moving? Let young Master Naku enter the city. The intrepid soldiers were extremely passionate, not even collecting the entrance fee before letting Naku's team in. However, Thunder Uncle still smiled and threw out a black blade coin, for our brothers to drink. The leading soldier received it with familiarity, becoming even more passionate. Wine could be made from fruits or grains. In the universe, there were tens of millions of drinks that could be called wine. I wonder what the wine of Blood River World tastes like. Luo Feng revealed a smile. After entering the city, Naku said passionately, Big Brother Feng, I'm very familiar with this city. You can stay at my house. Later I'll bring you around the city. Even though this main city is huge, there's really no place I don't know. Right, Lord Feng? Beside, Thunder Uncle was all smiles. The group of guards behind all looked expectantly at Luo Feng, not daring to make a sound. To be able to instantly kill the 13 axe. What kind of person was that? In the entire Swallow Mound City, there were indeed many powers that could kill the 13 axe. However, for one person to be able to instantly kill the 13 axe, such an absolute warrior was definitely rare. No need, let's part ways here, Luo Feng said. After looking at the information on the Blood River crystal earlier, he already had a plan on how to complete the mission. Luo Feng didn't want to get too involved with the Na family. After all, the moment he stayed there would probably be many troublesome matters. Part ways? Naku was startled. Thunder Uncle's face showed a hint of anxiousness. He thought, such a powerful warrior, he left just like that? Naku nodded, looking at Luo Feng. Big Brother Feng, you are in the city. If I want to see you, can I? Luo Feng looked at the silver-armored youth before him, smiling. Where's the best place to stay in Swallow Mound City? Flying Cloud Pavilion, the silver-armored youth said. If you want to find me, then go to Flying Cloud Pavilion. Luo Feng smiled. Naku nodded, after which Luo Feng turned his head and followed the endless streets into the distance. His silhouette blurred, and in an instant he was already far away. Naku, Thunder Uncle, as well as the group of guards looked at the black-armored, mysterious warrior with a blade and shield on his back. Thunder Uncle said in a low voice, "This is the strongest warrior I've ever met in my life." Naku nodded. "Let's go, young master. Let's go back." The burly man, Uncle Lei, said in a low voice, "It's best to tell master about this Lord Feng. Especially the matter of the Yu family. I feel that it is not a small matter. Let's go back." Naku brought the guards and swiftly returned home. Swallow Mound City was simply too huge, with an area of 1,000 kilometers. Naku and the others spent close to an hour to reach home. Na family was a business family with some status in Swallow Mound City. As Swallow Mound territory had an area of tens of millions of km, Earth's diameter was only 10,000 kilometers. Such a huge territory caused the population of Swallow Mound to be uncountable. The different families and powers were like the fish and prawns in the ocean. Na family, U family were considered middle-tier families. An organization like the 13 Acts was considered a higher-tier power. Within the Na family mansion, dressed in a black robe, the silver-haired man's expression froze, shocked as he listened to his son Na-ku and Thunder Uncle's description. Extremely powerful, Dad, you didn't see it. The leader of the 13 Acts killed Yu Yen Ta like he was slaughtering livestock, one axe strike and he died. However, the 13 Acts didn't even have the strength to retaliate against Big Brother Feng. We only saw 13 silhouettes and 13 blade flashes. The 13 Acts didn't even have time to retaliate before they all died. Yes, Master, what the young master said is true. How is that possible? The silver-haired middle-aged man Nabu completely calmed down after a while. To be able to build up the Na family, his thoughts were extremely meticulous. This is an expert, a super expert. Nabu looked solemnly at his son. Where is he? After entering the city, he separated from us. I invited him to our house, but he didn't agree. But he said if we wanted to see him we could go to Flying Cloud Pavilion. Na-ku said, his eyes gleaming, Dad, let's go to Flying Cloud Pavilion. No. Nabu frowned and said softly, this super expert left after entering the city. Obviously he didn't want to get too involved with us. You tell me the details of how you met him and how you separated, tell me everything. Yes. Na-ku immediately began to describe. The more he listened, the more relaxed Nabu's face became. Finally he smiled. Dad? Na-ku looked at his father. Haha, Koku, you're lucky. Nabu laughed. From your description, this mysterious expert Feng doesn't like to kill easily. If he can avoid killing, he'll be too lazy to kill. And he doesn't like to get too involved with others. However, he should have a good impression of you. Otherwise he wouldn't have agreed to let you meet him. Na-ku said excitedly, then now we know. Nabu shook his head. You just separated. If we rush over now, even if he meets you, he won't be happy. No rush, we'll wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll go meet this Feng. Alright, Lei Dong, accompany the young master back. Yes. The tall and sturdy Thunder Uncle brought Na-ku and left. Only Nabu was left in the room. The silver-haired Nabu's eyes gleamed like a fox, saying softly, Feng? You family? Just what did the Yu family do to actually provoke the 13 Acts to kill them? Asterisk, 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 asterisk within Swallow Mound City. Luo Feng wasn't in a rush to find a place to stay. Instead, he strolled around the city, casually going to some places to eat and drink. Listening to the conversations of the customers around, he knew more about Swallow Mound City. Blood River Continent didn't have a sun or moon. However, because of the movement of the 18 cloud layers, it caused the entire continent to be bright and dark at times. One bright and one dark meant one day. A day on Blood River Continent was about 7 days on Earth. Swallow Mound City, Flying Cloud Pavilion. One of the most luxurious lodgings. It took up an area of over 10 kilometers, much bigger than some of Earth's county cities. The scenery within was beautiful, and it could accommodate up to 500,000 guests. Every day there was an endless stream of people coming and going. Swallow Mound territory had a large amount of people entering the city, causing the business here to be extremely good. Within the guest building of Flying Cloud Pavilion, there were a few hundred receptionists. Lodgings. Luo Feng looked at a small lady dressed in a black fur coat and said, We have earth, sky and cloud levels. I wonder which level you'd like to stay in? As for the price, it's hung on the wall. The small lady dressed in fur smiled. Cloud level. Luo Feng said indifferently. Cloud level number 892. Daily lodging is 3 large coins. The lady smiled. Luo Feng casually took out a purple blade coin and threw it on the table. The lady immediately picked it up and began to register Luo Feng. The coins of Blood River World were all shaped like blade coins. They were split into small blade coins, red, small coins, medium blade coins, black, medium coins, large blade coins, green, large coins, and above them there was the most valuable purple blade coins, treasure coins. One medium coin was worth 1,000 small coins. One large coin was worth 1,000 medium coins. One treasure coin was worth 1,000 large coins. This was the most luxurious flying cloud pavilion. The most luxurious lodgings were the cloud level. A day's lodging required 3 large coins, which was equivalent to 3 million small coins. It wasn't something normal people could afford. And Luo Feng had killed the 13 acts and acquired their entire fortune. That was much more than the Na and Yu family's entire fortune. Naturally, he didn't care about the lodgings at all. Lord, this way. A handsome youth dressed in servant attire respectfully led the way. What appeared in front of Luo Feng was a quiet 3-story building with a garden and a pond. On the stone sign outside the courtyard of this building were the words Yun 892. Not bad. Luo Feng looked at it carefully and nodded satisfactorily. After which he sat in the living room chair and looked at the servant before him. Lord, whatever orders you have, please speak. During the days you're staying in our flying cloud pavilion, I'll serve you. The youth said respectfully. This is my first time coming to Swallow Mound City. Tell me, what special places are there in Swallow Mound City? What important people are there? Luo Feng casually took out a jade green crystal blade coin. Tell me clearly. If I'm satisfied, I'll reward you. The servant looked at the jade green blade coin and his eyes gleamed. I've lived in Swallow Mound City for over 200 years. I've stayed in the Flying Cloud Pavilion for close to 100 years. I've heard a lot. The servant immediately began to talk incessantly and excitedly, talking about all the famous places in Swallow Mound City. He talked for a total of over 2 hours before finishing. In the middle of it, the servant didn't even take a sip of water or stop. Luo Feng nodded as he listened. Very good, what you said is very good. Luo Feng's voice seemed to have some sort of magical power, causing the servant's eyes to lose their spirit. This is my reward for you. Leave. The jade green blade coin flew and landed in the servant's hands. Only then did the servant wake up. In his mind, he had completely forgotten about Luo Feng's questions from before. One had to know, Luo Feng could even use the slave soul imprint. To a star traveler punk, something like hypnosis was simply too easy. Thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. The servant excitedly took the blade coin and left. Luo Feng closed his eyes. In his mind, everything the servant had described appeared. His understanding of Swallow Mound City grew even clearer. Pure feather family? Looks like, if there are blood river crystals, this pure feather family has the highest possibility of having them. Luo Feng muttered. P.S. First chapter has arrived. The competition for the monthly votes was intense. Tomato would definitely give it his all to continue writing the second chapter. Chapter 504. The servant's description was very detailed. There were many families, organizations and sects within Swallow Mound territory. These powers were split into different levels. They could be categorized as super, upper, middle and lower. The Na family and Yu family were considered middle-level powers, while the 13 acts were considered upper-level powers. Within the entire Swallow Mound territory, there were still 3 superpowers. They were the Rock Wind family, Pure Feather family and the Tiger Thunder clan. The Tiger Thunder clan was a barbaric human race. The Rock Wind family was the city leader's family and the Pure Feather family was the #1 merchant family. Blood river crystals are incomparably precious. These 3 superpowers have the highest possibility of having them. Luo Feng sat there, tapping on the armrest. The highest possibility is undoubtedly the city leader, the Rock Wind family. The second would be the Pure Feather family. As for the Tiger Thunder clan, it's simply too far away. There's no need to rush over. A domain level, domain lord, had to absorb 1 blood river crystal to gain the recognition of the Undying Shrine, gaining the right to be the city leader. Hence, that city leader had definitely absorbed one crystal before, and he was the most powerful within the territory. The chances of him acquiring a second crystal was undoubtedly the highest. If he was the city leader and absorbed one crystal, he would definitely want to get a second to see if he could absorb it again. However, he's a domain lord, and I'm only universe level 9. Of course, my domain is level 9 and I'm proficient in the space and gold origin laws. I have confidence in killing a normal domain lord level 2 or 3. The only thing I'm afraid of is, he's a domain lord level 7 or 8. Luo Feng shook his head. Before understanding the other party's background, it was best not to mess with the city leader. To be able to control Swallow Mound territory, that leader was definitely not to be messed with. Target: Pure Feather Family Leader. Luo Feng squinted, cold light gleaming. The plan was set. However, the Pure Feather family was a tyrant within Swallow Mound territory, second only to the city leader. They had many cloud-level, universe-level warriors. It was even said that there was a domain-level, domain lord, old punk training there. However, the fact that there was a domain lord was only hearsay by the servant, there was no way to confirm it. The second morning, Luo Feng's spirit energy faintly connected to the universe space ripples. Through the ripples, he could feel the energies within 10 kilometers. Naku is here? Luo Feng opened his eyes. Naku, cloud level number 892. Luo Feng immediately communicated. When the father and son of the Na clan came to the Flying Cloud Pavilion, they were about to investigate where the mysterious Master Feng was staying when a voice rang in their head. Naku, cloud level number 892. Father, cloud level number 892. Naku said softly. How did you know? Neb looked at his son in surprise. Big Brother Feng's voice transmission is in my head. Naku said. Nabu, who was beside him, was secretly shocked. This mysterious expert Feng was really terrifying. They had yet to see each other and he already knew they had arrived. Go. Nabu and Naku entered the inner part of the Flying Cloud Pavilion. Although the cloud level region forbids outsiders from entering, the Na family was a local tyrant and easily got people to lead the way. When the two of them arrived at Luo Feng's residence, they saw a man dressed in black armor standing in the courtyard. Big Brother Feng. Naku shouted. Nabu pays his respects to Lord Feng. Thank you, Lord Feng, for saving my son's life. The silver-haired Nabu bowed respectfully. Come in. Luo Feng smiled. In the living room, Luo Feng and Nabu sat down. Naku stood beside his father. Lord Feng, yesterday, if it wasn't for you, my son would have lost his little life. Nabu sighed. Just last night, the entire Yu family was uprooted. Yu family is also a family with deep roots, but because of one wrong step, the foundation of the family was destroyed in a single night. Yesterday, even my son was involved. Just thinking about it gives me lingering fear. Uprooted? Luo Feng frowned. I just received accurate news. Nabu exclaimed and shook his head. This time, the Yu family actually borrowed a huge amount of money. Through secret channels, they managed to get an armor from the ancient god ruins. It was a pity their team was destroyed yesterday. I heard the armor was stolen too. The Yu family had no way to repay the debt, much less the interest. Hence, those lenders, in a fit of rage, killed the Yu family and stole their asset. Even then, they still couldn't repay the debt. What kind of place is the ancient god ruins? Is a set of armor that important? Luo Feng asked. Lord Feng doesn't know? Nabu was shocked. Big Brother Feng, I've heard of the ancient god ruins. Naku smiled. I only know it's an ancient battlefield, a huge ancient battlefield. Luo Feng said casually. I'm just curious. Why is a set of armor from the ancient battlefield so valuable? From the general knowledge books from the 13 Axis space rings, Luo Feng understood some of the special places and basic information of Blood River World. There were very few books on the ancient god ruins. Ancient God ruins. A diameter of 100 billion kilometers. It could be said to be boundless, an ancient battlefield. The books didn't have much information about it. Nabu smiled. This ancient God ruins, most people only know that it's an ancient battlefield. However, I'm a businessman. Through some special channels, I've learned some secret information. I believe Lord Feng knows about the outsider races, right? I know. Luo Feng nodded. The outsider races are extremely strong, extremely powerful. Nabo exclaimed. In theory, any cloud-level warrior can break through the 18 cloud levels and fly into the space outside. But any expert who flies out of the void will be killed by the alien races living in the void. We have no way to enter space. However, luckily, it's very hard for the outsider races to descend. Nabu smiled. I heard that every time they descend, the price they pay is extremely huge. Luo Feng was stunned. Huge price? A very, very long time ago, a very ancient period. Nabu exclaimed. Back then, the strong of our Blood River continent were like the clouds, even more than now. And back then, the outsider races descended. The terrifying warriors of the outsider races fought against the undyings of our continent in a god war. God war. Luo Feng blinked. Our Blood River continent suffered heavy losses. Many ancient undyings fell. However, even though the sacrifice was huge, we still chased the outsider races out. Nabu's eyes gleamed. Ever since that war, the outsider races never had a large-scale descent again. And that ancient battlefield where the large numbers of undyings fought was called the Ancient God Ruins, because that vast region was indeed a broken ruin. The youth Na Ku's eyes gleamed beside. Large numbers of undyings forming an army, the god armies fighting each other, it's really shocking. Luo Feng smiled. Ancient God Ruins? Maybe there were indeed large numbers of undyings battling there. However, to say that the outsider races were defeated, that was too laughable. Not to mention others. The knights and universe country leaders of the Virtual Universe Company, any one of them could easily destroy the entire Blood River world. The ancient god ruins have many special armors and weapons from the outsider races. There are also some armors and weapons from the fallen undyings. Even though these are broken, they are still very valuable. Nabu said. And the killing aura within the ancient god ruins is extremely heavy. Some warriors who enter, if their willpower is slightly weaker, would be invaded by the killing aura and go mad. However, there are still many who enter the ancient god ruins to search for the treasures of the undyings. Also, the stronger the killing aura, the easier it is for them to absorb the crystals. Hence, many warriors disregard the danger and enter the ancient god ruins. Nabu exclaimed. Anyway, the ancient god ruins is the most terrifying place and also the most mesmerizing. Countless warriors from our continent head in. Ah! Luo Feng frowned. Killing aura? Blood River crystals? The books he had read before said that the more one killed, the easier it was to absorb the crystals. And Nabu said that the stronger the killing aura, the easier it was to absorb the crystals. Hence, countless warriors head in. So killing is to make the killing aura stronger. Luo Feng thought. This Blood River crystal, just what kind of treasure is it? Why is it easier for people with heavy killing auras to absorb it? Ancient God Ruins. If I get more crystals, even if I can't absorb it, I can still go to the Ancient God Ruins and try. Luo Feng thought. The Na father and son's arrival made Luo Feng's mood very good. Because he knew some information about the Ancient God Ruins, this was related to whether or not he could become a blood warrior. Flying Cloud Pavilion, Luo Feng's residence. Luo Feng held a book and sat on the second-level railing reading. Simultaneously, he split a thread of his consciousness to connect to the Virtual Universe network. Even though he was currently in the middle of a training mission, it didn't clash with studying the origin laws and studying Yu Xiang Mountain Absolute Beginning Region, Wuka's Villa. Rongjun, Luofeng, I heard the two of you have begun your training missions. Wuka looked at them. What level have you chosen? Difficult level. Rongjun said. Luofeng, what about you? Wuka looked at Luofeng. Rongjun too. Dangerous level. Luofeng said. This immediately shocked Wuka, and Rongjun Wuka stared wide-eyed. Luofeng, this is your first time taking a mission and you're choosing the dangerous level. That's too dangerous. It's very dangerous. I'm already in a little trouble. Luofeng was helpless. I don't even dare be careless on this difficult level. Madman, you're really crazy. Rongjun smiled and shook his head. A thread of his consciousness was in the virtual universe network, while his body was in Swallow Mound City on Blood River World, preparing to deal with the Pure Feather family leader. Firstly, he had to understand what the leader looked like and confirm his identity. Next, he had to understand the situation within the Pure Feather family's residence. No problem. Luofeng shook his head. I'm leaving. I have something important to do today, I can't be distracted. Good luck. Wuka said. Don't lose your life on this mission. Rongjun reminded. Relax. Luofeng shook his head and smiled, after which he vanished, leaving the virtual universe network. Blood River World, Swallow Mound City, night. After 6 days of careful investigation and ample preparation, Luofeng became a gust of wind and silently left the Flying Cloud Pavilion. After a while, he arrived at an extremely luxurious mansion that occupied an area of 10 kilometers. It was also a mansion that was second only to the city leader's mansion. Pure Feather family. The air trembled. A silhouette appeared outside the walls of the mansion. It was Luofeng. P.S. The monthly votes are already 900 votes away, however Tomato won't give up, definitely won't give up, continue writing the third chapter. Chapter 505. Luofeng didn't wear the black armor today. Instead, he wore a simple black robe and stood empty-handed below the wall. Pure Feather family? Luofeng smiled. Who, his entire being vanished like a gust of wind, noiselessly entering the depths of the luxurious mansion. The Pure Feather family mansion took up an area of 10 kilometers. It was split into the outer mansion and the inner mansion. The outer mansion was for the lower-ranked normal people to stay in. Hence the security was more lax. However, the inner mansion was obviously much stricter. Shwa, shwa, shwa. A black-robed man took only 3 steps, and 3 shadows appeared in the dark beside the flowers and grass, under the dark walls, and in the corridor. Then, he arrived at the edge of the inner mansion. The Blood River Crystal mission, since it's a dangerous level mission, it won't be easy to get. Luofeng half squatted below a huge rock. His gaze swept about, his spirit energy connected to the universe space, and felt the life energy around. The life energy in the inner mansion is obviously much stronger. There are many universe levels. Wanting to casually walk around the inner mansion was no longer possible. So, Luofeng was incomparably serious. Unleashing illusionary body, his entire being seemed to become a shadow. In the dark night, it was like adding wings to a tiger, swiftly entering the inner mansion. Be serious, don't all look like you're about to fall asleep. Captain, who dares barge into the Pure Feather family's inner mansion? There's no need to be so serious. It's fine if you're not serious, but at least act it out. Otherwise, it'll be bad if you're discovered. I'm doing this for your own good. A patrol team was patrolling the inner mansion. As they walked, they communicated and chatted. Who? From behind them, a blurry silhouette immediately flashed and entered the deeper parts of the mansion. Unleashing illusionary body, Luofeng was even more unpredictable. Along with his sense of the universe space, he dodged all the sentries along the way. This made Luofeng exclaim within. Indeed, the security was extremely tight. Swallow Mound City, a super family second only to the city leader's mansion, was definitely no joke. Ahead is where that dog of a strategist lives. Luofeng's entire being stuck to the stone pillar in the corridor. Like a blurry silhouette, he stared coldly at the distant quiet residence. Schwa. Luo Feng relied on his sense of the universe-space ripples. In 3 peculiar movements, he reached the quiet pagoda. 2D level of the pagoda. A skinny, fair-skinned man in a white robe was sitting in front of a desk, seemingly thinking about something. These big families definitely had a large number of strategists, especially business families. This white-robed man was the one with the highest position in the pure feather family. He was the most valued strategist by the family head, Yukuchi. His position in the entire pure feather family was very high. Just by living in the inner mansion and occupying such a serene pavilion, one could see his status. Yukuchi. A voice rang out. The white-robed man shuddered and hastily turned his head, only to see a black-haired man dressed in a black robe standing behind him. Master! The white-robed man bowed respectfully, his eyes filled with loyalty and fervor. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. These past 6 days, in order to understand the situation of the pure feather family, he had carefully considered and used many methods. Not only did he obtain information from the intelligence agencies within the city, he also used soul techniques to control the important figures within the family to investigate. This soul technique, his teacher, the master of the Yunmo planet, Hu Yenbo, specialized in the study of the soul and was extremely accomplished. Even the slave soul imprint was created. Naturally, he had many common techniques. And the first volume of the time-space scribbles had many soul-related techniques. What he used on this white-robed man was something similar to a soul hypnosis technique. I want to meet your family head now, are you ready? Luo Feng asked. Master, please relax, I'm the trusted aide of the family head. He has absolute trust in me, even if I want to meet him at night, it's definitely not a problem. The white-robed man Yukuchi was extremely confident. Lead the way, Luo Feng said. Yes. The white-robed man Yukuchi said respectfully, Master just needs to follow behind me. Following which Yukuchi headed downstairs, Luo Feng followed him. Creak. The door opened and Yukuchi brought Luo Feng out just like that. Walking along the walkway, it was completely silent. Luo Feng glanced at the distant patrol team walking over. The leader of the patrol team looked at the white-robed man and smiled. Mr. Yu. H.M. Yukuchi nodded indifferently. The patrol team didn't even ask who the black-robed man was and just left. Yukuchi communicated, Master, please relax, occasionally because of important matters, I'll often discuss with the family head late at night. Occasionally I'll bring people to meet with the family head, even though it's the family head's orders. However, those guards don't know. Hence, it's definitely not a problem for me to bring people over. HM. Luo Feng nodded. They continued forward. Level after level. Luo Feng just openly walked past the sentries. They didn't react at all, allowing Yukuchi to lead them deeper and deeper. The deeper we go, the tighter the security gets. Even if I wanted to sneak in without anyone noticing, it would be impossible. Luo Feng looked ahead at the vast number of guards stationed around. With a glance, there were at least a few thousand. Obviously they had already reached the core of the pure feather family. Open the door. Yukuchi shouted. Yes, Mr. Yu, please wait a moment. Immediately a soldier opened the tightly shut side door. Yukuchi brought Luo Feng, and under the gaze of the few thousand guards, they entered the deepest area. Master, this is already the core area of the family. The family head, the important disciples, the absolute warriors, the treasure trove, the martial arts building, etc. are all here. Yukuchi communicated, and the family head's living quarters are not far ahead. HM, we've arrived, it's this palace before us. Luo Feng carefully observed. In front of them was an ancient courtyard wall that was about 500 meters in length and width. Inside the wall was a 9-story palace. There were only 2 guards standing at the main entrance of the courtyard wall. Open the door, Yukuchi said. Who is he? Of the two guards, the one on the left frowned and pointed at Luo Feng. He's someone the family head wants to meet. Yu Kuchi frowned. Hurry and open the door. The family head didn't inform us today that he's meeting someone late at night. The left guard looked carefully at Luo Feng and said coldly, and at this time, the family head is already resting. The family head has long wanted to meet him, it's just that he hasn't had the chance. Since I found this lord today, of course I'll bring him here immediately. The white-robed Yu Kuchi's expression sunk, shouting, "The family's blame, can you bear it? Hurry and open the door." Luo Feng frowned, communicating, "What's going on? Master, normally these two don't even dare stop me, today is strange." Yu Kuchi replied, he too was suspicious. "Hurry and open the door." Yu Kuchi's expression was ugly, raging, "What's going on with you two?" The two guards' expressions changed. One of them laughed awkwardly, communicating, "Mr. Yu, actually it's not us brothers who want to stop you. It's just that today the family head has just gotten his hands on that person from the city leader's residence. Anyway, it's not a good time to meet anyone. If you're disturbed, the family head might not be happy. If you really want to meet him, can we help pass the message?" The white-robed Yu Kuchi frowned, communicating to Luo Feng, "Master, the family head is currently with a woman, what do we do?" "Enter." Luo Feng communicated. And under the influence of the soul technique, Yu Kuchi couldn't reject Luo Feng's orders, immediately looking at the guards, "Go pass the message. The family head's meeting with this lord is more important than a woman." "That's fine." The two guards at the door immediately opened the door, one of them heading in. Luo Feng stood outside the courtyard, looking through the already open door, quietly looking in. Family head." The guard who went to pass the message stood outside the palace, shouting softly, "What's the matter?" An angry voice resounded. "What's going on?" A sweet voice resounded. "Family head, Mr. Yu brought someone over, saying he's someone you've been wanting to meet. Family head, will you meet him?" The guard said. "Mr. Yu brought someone?" Suddenly, the door to the first level of the palace rumbled open. A tall and sturdy barefooted man dressed casually in a luxurious sleeping gown looked out. Simultaneously his gaze landed on the black-robed Luo Feng, immediately making the pure feather family head suspicious. "If I keep looking, I'll be exposed." Luo Feng's body flashed and became a blur, rushing into the courtyard. Shwa, 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 shwa. 9 black silhouettes sprang down from the top of the palace. At the same time, numerous silhouettes shot out from behind the walls of the courtyard, covering the sky and covering the earth as they charged forward. The head of the pure feather family, how respected was his position, how could he not have bodyguards? 300 bodyguards. 9 great shadow guards. There's actually 9 universe levels. A superpower is indeed a superpower. A black-robed Luo Feng stood in the courtyard, his expression cold, his eyes cold, both his hands extended. Immediately, the 300 bodyguards and 9 great shadow guards that rushed out, they were all wielding blades, short swords or other weapons. Some were prepared to control the weapons to kill Luo Feng. However, under Luo Feng's powerful spirit energy control, the 300 bodyguards wielding blades, short swords and other weapons immediately sliced towards the bodyguards' heads. No! The 300 bodyguards, 9 great shadow guards and 2 guards all stared wide-eyed in fear, however their strength couldn't even control their weapons. Shwa! Saber light, sword light and hidden weapon light flashed in unison. 311 heads were sliced off, fresh blood sprayed in the night sky. The entire courtyard only had 3 people left alive. The white-robed Yu Kuchi stood there dumbfounded. The pure feather family head stared wide-eyed in fear. Only Luo Feng's black robe was fluttering, expressionless. Shwa! Luo Feng took a step and reached the head's side, grabbing his neck like he was grabbing a little chick, simultaneously taking a step and his entire being vanished. Chapter 506. Pure Feather Family. It was far older than the newly risen Rockwind family. And the strongest warrior of Swallow Mound City was from the Pure Feather family. Pure Feather Tao. Domain Lord Level 6. Pure Feather family's oldest and strongest. He was also the one who truly controlled the family from the shadows. Just like the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, even though there was an emperor, the one who inherited and abdicated the throne was the God Master of the sacred land Black Dragon Mountain. With the same logic, Pure Feather Tao was the one in control. It was only a 3-story building that was completely purple. The entire staircase was made from purple flame wood. Just this 3-story building alone was much more expensive than all the other parts of the Pure Feather family's residence added together. 3rd floor. A black-bearded middle-aged man dressed in loose robes sat quietly on his bed. His eyes were closed. Suddenly, a huge energy ripple came from the northeast direction. Blood River World had its own directions: north, south, east, west, heaven and earth. However, the method of determining direction was different from Earth. Pure Feather Tao's expression sunk. Immediately, his spirit energy swept outward. Even though he was a fighter, and compared to spirit readers, his spirit energy was much weaker. But at the Domain Lord level, using spirit energy to search was a very easy thing to do. Rumble. With the building as the center, the wild spirit energy swept out fiercely in the direction of the energy ripple. In an instant, it had already reached the palace where the leader of the Pure Feather family resided in. With one look, Pure Feather Tao's face changed. So, he disappeared from the bed. Within the palace where the family head lived, the stench of blood permeated the air. 300 corpses were on the ground, red and white splattered all over the ground. Almost at the same time as the 300 or so people fell, a bearded middle-aged man in a loose gray robe floated in the air above the palace, his eyes angrily sweeping the people below. Ah! On the 2nd floor of the palace, a beautiful lady was peeking out from the window. The moment she saw the horrifying scene of blood flowing like a sea, she screamed out. Humph! In mid-air, Pure Feather Tao's expression sunk. Rumble! A yellow energy wave instantly enveloped the entire palace. At the same time, it wrapped around the white-robed man Yukuchi as well as the lady who was hiding within the palace, sweeping them into mid-air. Speak, what happened? Pure Feather Tao was filled with rage as he looked at the two of them. This. The charming woman's face turned pale. Yukuchi shook his head and said, I don't know what happened. Just now, a black figure suddenly appeared, and then I saw more than 300 people kill themselves with their own weapons. However, the patriarch was taken away. Pure Feather Tao looked at the woman. Yes, it's Yukuchi. He brought people to see the patriarch, so the patriarch went out to sea. I don't know anything else. The charming woman shook her head. Pure Feather Tao looked at Yukuchi. Yukuchi smiled strangely. Pung! His entire body exploded, and the flesh and bones that were blasted apart even pierced through the woman beside him. The woman's eyes widened, and with 3 holes in her chest, she shouted, Save me! The people of Blood River World were practically all Star Traveler level. This lady was one too. Hence, even with a few holes in her body, she wouldn't die. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the distance, many people shot over. They were the experts of the Pure Feather family. Patriarch! Patriarch, what's going on? Grandfather, what's going on? The group of upper echelons of the Pure Feather family were all shocked. Looking at the huge pile of corpses in the palace, my God, some of them had already recognized the 9 Shadow Guards. Those were the 9 Shadow Guards, an extremely strong force of the Pure Feather family. 9 cloud levels. Search for me, find the patriarch for me. Pure Feather Tao raged. At the same time, the energy around him became berserk, like a formless blade slicing the woman into meat paste. Yes. The group of people replied respectfully. Actually, seeing the 300 secret guards all die, they had already guessed that the Patriarch had met with misfortune. From the looks of it, the Patriarch should have been taken away by someone. Bastard! Pure Feather Tau, who was surrounded by the earth-yellow energy wave, floating in the air like a god in the dark night, crazily spreading out his spirit energy in all directions to investigate the surroundings. He was a fighter, hence his spirit energy concentration, flexibility, hollowness etc. were far from a spirit reader, especially in terms of quantity. However, searching such a small matter wasn't a problem. As Blood River World's gravity was extremely strong, Pure Feather Tau's spirit energy could only spread out to about 80 kilometers. Where is he? Where? Enveloped in the yellow energy wave, he flew 100 kilometers away. Deep in the night, in the skies above Swallow Mound City, a yellow light appeared in one area, and then in another. It was obvious that he was going to search the entire Swallow Mound City. Swallow Mound City leader's residence. A tall and big middle-aged man with a faint green engraving on his forehead walked to the railing of a palace. He wore a blood-red scale armor, his eyes cold as he looked up at the sky at Pure Feather Tau, who was searching the entire Swallow Mound City. He said softly, "This old bastard, what's wrong with him?" "Humph." To anger this old bastard to this extent, the Pure Feather family must have taken a huge loss. His lips curled into a cold smile. He, the person with the highest authority in Swallow Mound City, city leader. Rock Wind Xiong. However, in terms of strength, he was weaker than Pure Feather Tau. The reason he could become the leader of Swallow Mound City was firstly because he successfully absorbed a Blood River crystal, and secondly because he had a special relationship with the world leader of this world. And Pure Feather Tau, although he was stronger, he didn't succeed in absorbing the crystal, hence he didn't have the right to become the leader. Crazy, it's best if he goes crazy and dies. Rock Wind Xiong laughed coldly and ordered, "Go investigate, see what's going on with the Pure Feather family?" "Yes." A low voice resounded. Pure Feather family was too deeply rooted in Swallow Mound City. This time, someone killed their way into their residence and took away their family leader. What kind of humiliation was that? Angering the old ancestor Pure Feather Tau and causing him to search the entire Swallow Mound City, following which the various powers of the family began to move and search furiously. At the same time, the city leader's family Rock Wind family as well as other powers began to join in, causing the entire Swallow Mound City to be in chaos. The Yu family's Yu Yen Ta was a star level 9. His escaping speed could reach 8 kilometers per second. And Luo Feng was a universe level 9 with a domain level 9. His comprehension of the space laws was extremely high, and he was extremely proficient in instantaneous explosive speed. In a short period of time, with the gravity of Blood River World, he could reach 300 kilometers per second. Back then, Luo Feng had grabbed the family leader and used his spirit energy to wrap around him. With a step, he rushed into the sky and into the cloud. 30,000 km away from Swallow Mound City, 15th cloud level. Luo Feng finally stopped grabbing the family leader. "What are you doing?" Pure Feather Chang's expression was pale. Because the moment he was grabbed, his Dantian was immediately destroyed, and his soul was suppressed by the incredibly strong spirit energy. "You're asking me what I'm doing?" Luo Feng immediately pulled out a space bracelet from Pure Feather Chang's hand. That bracelet naturally had Pure Feather Chang's spirit imprint within. However, Luo Feng's spirit energy was like a long spear forcefully piercing through the imprint, causing Pure Feather Chang's expression to become even paler. Quite rich. Luo Feng took the bracelet and carefully inspected the items within. "You want money? Alright, take however much you want. Don't kill me," Pure Feather Chang said. "You are a spirit reader. If you make me forget this memory, I won't remember what you look like." Luo Feng frowned. Within the bracelet, there were no Blood River crystals. Pure Feather Chang. Luo Feng looked at Pure Feather Chong. This Pure Feather family leader seemed to be inferior to the Na family leader. And at this time, Pure Feather Chong suddenly felt that the black-robed youth's gaze was too mesmerizing. 1 second later, Pure Feather Chong's gaze dimmed. He looked at Luo Feng passionately and respectfully. Master. Luo Feng stood on the cloud and looked at Pure Feather Chong. Let me ask you, do you know who has Blood River crystals? Does your Pure Feather family have them? Yes. Pure Feather Chong didn't hesitate at all. Where? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. With my ancestor. Pure Feather Chong said respectfully. Ancestor? Luo Feng frowned. He had heard that the Pure Feather family had a domain lord warrior, however this wasn't confirmed. Yes, my Pure Feather family's strongest warrior, and also the strongest in Swallow Mound City. Pure Feather Chong said. The Blood River crystals are with him. However, even though the ancestor has acquired one, no matter how he tries, he can't absorb it. Hence, the leader position of Swallow Mound City ended up in the hands of the Rockwind family. Your family's ancestor is stronger than the city leader. Luo Feng could tell. Yes. Pure Feather Chong said respectfully. The city leader has just stepped into the domain level over 100 years ago. According to what the ancestor said, he can only be considered an early-stage domain level, and my ancestor is about to step into the late-stage domain level. Luo Feng thought. He estimated that the city leader was a domain lord level 2 or 3. After all, he had just broken through over 100 years ago. Normal people had to slowly accumulate energy after breaking through. From level 1 to level 9, it would take a very long time. Even in the entire universe, only the most elite geniuses could receive the same treatment as Luo Feng. They didn't have to waste time accumulating energy. Other than your family's ancestor, who else has Blood River crystals? Luo Feng asked. I can confirm, one is the ancestor, the other is the current general in charge of Swallow Mound City's army, Rock Windjan. Pure Feather Chong said. Rock Windjan, he's the city leader Rock Wind Xiong's younger brother. Our relationship is very good. Back then he even took out that crystal to show off to me, saying his brother gave it to him for him to absorb. Ah? One is with your ancestor, the other is with Rock Windjan? Luo Feng smiled and nodded.